Gather round with your theories so wild, talking like detectives with hearts beguiled. Oreos in hand, crumbs on your shirt, hunting for clues but solving dessert. Oh, snack cake savior, sleuth in disguise, solving cold cases with frost and filled pies. JB Gunner's laughing, it's plain to see you're cracking these cases from an armchair spree. Murder and mystery stain your screen. But
ladies and gentlemen, what's going on, man? It's good to be back here with y'all.
Waistline stretches while questions unfold. Netflix is on, but the truth's
We'll wait for some people to come on in here, and then we'll get started. I got you, Tactical. Don't worry about it.
Savior, sleuth in disguise, solving cold cases with frosting filled pies. JB Gunner's laughing, it's plain to see you're cracking these cases
Exactly,
from
Dylan.
an armchair spree.
All right, guys, we are here. It is good to be back with you guys. As you guys know, I'm JB Gunner, and this is Crime Time. Tactical reviews, stippling. I will say this to you, okay? We have been through this case for 2.5 years, and only in the last week have you guys come up with this "the car is green" claim. So since you guys made a brand new claim that everyone else consistently, well, let me rephrase this, that no one else has made until you did, it is up to you to explain to us how the car is green. When we have official documents, we have many other things. And by the way, I'm not saying that everything that comes through the courts or through the law enforcement is necessarily true. We have a still shot photo, the initial still shot photo that was the reason for people looking for the car, that is white. And then all of a sudden, you guys take, let's say, an example being, what's up? I guess I'm colorblind because it's about as white as can be. Yes. My question is since you have changed the color of the car from white to green, wouldn't the burden of evidence, the burden of proof be on you to explain to us how the FBI and everybody got it all wrong and the color of the car is now green? Now, we'll get into all that. Let me say hi to some people. Hi, Ginger. Hi, Gene. Hi, Tactical. Hi, Dylan. Hi, Nurse Meg. How you doing? AT hasn't even claimed that the car is not white. Thank you, David. Thank you. So what's up, Texas Ranger? So, but here's what's happened. So in the last week, you got a lot of people that has come up with a new conspiracy theory, a brand new one. And then they're acting as if everybody else is nuts because we don't know where these people made it up from. You see what I'm saying? They're like, oh my God, you didn't know the car was green? Well, no, because for the last 2.5 years, everybody said it's white. Oh, but I guess on some YouTube channel, you guys came up with that new shit, a brand new conspiracy theory. What's up, Jody? How you doing, beautiful? We got Jeff H. He says, I think it's also folks that have limited understanding of how infrared cameras work. I did a live stream with 12 gauge where my infrared camera turned a green notebook white. But my notebook was a foot from the camera. Infrared lights on the camera only reach 100 feet. And my notebook was made of paper, not metal like a car. There you go. So we're going to get into this because here's the thing. And look, man, if someone wants to challenge me and wants to explain their theory to me, I'll gladly listen to you. Gladly. But I want to start today's show off by saying that the way conspiracy theories work is, what's up, love Tina? There has to be an agenda behind it. And I'm going to ask one particular question for all the people. When are you going to come to my channel on panel, JB? I can do that. I'm going to ask one question to the conspiracy theorists that keep making up new shit every month, every single month. What would be the benefit of the false flag? What would be the benefit of the conspiracy? Because if you have to ask that question. That's the reason conspiracy theories exist. That's the reason conspiracies. YouTube just let me start watching. Cool. Conspiracy theories themselves, there has to be a reason for the false flag. There has to be a reason for the theory. So my question to you would be, what would be the purpose of the FBI, the mainstream media all over the country? What would be the purpose of everybody coming together to engage in this false flag? I can explain to you the reasoning for the USS Maine, for the Gulf of Tonkin incident. What's up, Luna? For the Gulf of Tonkin incident, for particular maybe doing a 9/11 inside job, for maybe even staging a moon landing, for killing the president, as in JFK. I can explain to you the reasoning why all of those things would exist. None of you can explain to me what would be the reason that a national federal agency, along with all of these different entities, would come together for the mass conspiracy theory, for this big false flag. And that has to be step one, question one of the exam. And if you can't answer that question, you cannot proceed with the exam. Because that means you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Every false flag and every conspiracy has to have a reason. Or why would people even do it? There has to be an agenda. What would be the agenda and what would be the reason of the national media and the federal government covering up an event, a very insignificant event in little small town Idaho? If you can answer me that question, then I would potentially believe to not scare the drug mules away. What does that mean? What are you saying? To not scare the drug mules away. Why would that be their agenda? You think they don't want to scare the drug mules away? Is that what you just said? You think the federal government and the mainstream media wants drug mules there? Is that what you're saying? Dante says the feds would cover it up if they fail to protect the daughters of cartel informant parents. Yes, but is there any evidence of cartel informant parents? Is there any evidence at all of any cartel involvement in the Idaho 4 case at all, or did people just make it up? Because I've read every document, I followed every piece of this story since day one, and there's absolutely been zero evidence of any cartel involvement in this entire thing. People just made it up. It's no different than the people that made up that Dylan was transsexual. Transgender. It's not real. They just made it up. Turner said, I think he did do it. No way he did it alone. I don't know if the truth will ever come out. I just don't believe that BK took out 4 people all by himself. Well, you got to remember, only 3 of them were actual active. Ethan was asleep. If he was murdered in that bed, and if that is true, then he would have been asleep. Possible years-long federal. No, you just said possible. Yeah, that's not a thing. Possible years-long federal undercover investigation that crosses through the murder. Yeah, but that's just a theory that you just made up, though. There's nothing solid to back up that theory, right? So you told me at the start of this, you asked me if I could prove to you the car was white. I can prove to you the car is white way more than you can prove to me that the car is green. I have actual evidence, such as legal documents saying that suspect vehicle 1 was white. So if you believe that the courts and everybody's lying about suspect vehicle 1 being white, even if you don't think it's Kohlberger's, that's fine. But if you are trafficking charges disappeared, 10-year minimum for Maddie's stepmom and Xana's mom. Show me that. Show me that, Dante. Show me where the cartel was involved. Show me anything like that, and I'll take that into consideration. Any kind of link to anything that will show me that, I will gladly take that into consideration. I got to admit, till they arrested the guy, I was looking hard at the ex-boyfriend. Of course. JB is going to be proven they are wrong about this car. What do you mean proven that they're wrong about this car? You have to explain more, and you have to explain why. The way conversations and debate goes is you have to come with some sort of you have to come with some sort of oomph behind your claim, behind your statement. So if it's going to be proven that who's wrong about the car, are you telling me right now it wasn't a white Elantra that they have on all that tape and footage? Is that what you're telling me? And if that is what you're telling me, please tell me show me the evidence. People finally found out they have to get it to Ann Taylor, and it's going to be proven in court. What do you mean? Oh, the internet snack cakers? Yeah. Let me ask you a question. How many times has the internet snack cakers been right on a case? And how many times have they changed a case? I'm talking about the internet conspiracy community when it comes to the true crimes. How many times have they ever altered the outcome of a case or even been right about one? Marie says he's a nobody. Why would he be the one they would pick? Exactly. Thank you, Marie. I'm sure there are plenty of felons that live in the area that they could have chosen. Yeah, exactly. What's up, Scott? How you doing? It has to be taken into court to show Hitler. First of all, don't you ever disrespect Hitler again. Second of all, there's nothing to be taken into court. You mean YouTubers fooling you on the internet? YouTubers running around here fooling you on the internet because this is what they do to make money? Internet people, YouTubers sitting here telling you, convincing you somehow that the car is a different color than what the actual official documents and everybody's saying it is. You heard it here first. No, that's not the way it works. If you're not going to back up your fucking claim, then get the fuck out of my chat room. I don't mind you making claims, but if you're just going to say dumb shit like you heard it here first, it'll be proven later. No, I'm asking you to prove it now. I'm asking you to prove it right now. I'm asking you to convince me. A few of the photos of the car seem to be shaded from the lights around, but there's photos, it's obvious. Yeah, if you look at the initial photo, I see what's going on, Giro. If you look at the initial photo that they showed us when they put it on December 8th or whatever it was, when they said we're looking for a white Elantra, that clearly was white. Now, if you don't think that I'm not Brian's lawyer, the state messed up and there's going to be a lot of ramifications, there's not going to be any ramifications. Because if it is the conspiracy you claim as it is, then there's not going to be any ramifications to begin with. If it's the conspiracy that you claim it is, who's going to enforce the ramifications? There we go. Answer that. If it's the conspiracy that you think it is, who's going to enforce those ramifications? I don't believe the cops were lying about it being white. I believe they believed it was white. During the Karen Reed trial, they showed video of her vehicle in the shop. What does that got to do with this case? Okay. So why all of a sudden did you people change the color of the car 3 years into the case? Why so long into this case are you guys just now changing the color of the cars? Because a YouTuber told you that, right? Let's be honest. Because a YouTuber told you that all of a sudden the white Elantra is a green Elantra. You're going to just saying sometimes you don't notice things? Oh, yeah, I notice things. Why all of a sudden did this community, the conspiracy, the snack caker community, all of a sudden change the color of the car to green? Stuff pops up in cases, JB. This car belongs to the neighbor around the corner. You mean how? Okay, what's the evidence? What's the evidence that, yeah, exactly, Upgrade. What is the evidence? Because now they need a rebuttal to the facts that were aired? Yes. Yes. Didn't they delete the footage from camera on the other side as well? According to whom? Yeah, when did the car change color? Apparently in the last week. All of these people, I guess we'll have to wait and see May 15th. It's going to be very interesting. That's not, what is May 15th? What is May 15th? Oh, they're going to dismiss the case because the car was green? Is that what you're saying? Oh, man. Oh, man. Report said white win. What time? The time we were looking at the now camera and time that it's fenced. There's a hearing. Well, yeah, there is a hearing, but what are they saying? Well, I understand there's a hearing, but it's not on the color of the car. Right. Those are called pretrial hearings. Do you think the big car debate's going to happen? Is that what I'm hearing? Is that what I'm hearing? They showed the comparison of the green car. What do you mean they? What do you mean they? A YouTuber? Is that what you're saying? I don't know, but until you're supposed to be bringing up perpetrators and evidence. Well, there is a perpetrator. They have their suspected perpetrator in custody. Yeah, the suspect is white in the story. Yes. Very interesting how the photo they have in court documents was a red tail light on a little car, which means the camera is in infrared mode for that photo. Yeah. So, no one's answered me the question. Oh, man. Oh, my boy. I forgot about you. That is man, I forgot about Upgrade. I actually think Upgrade just did it. Kohlberger is cooked and no one likes it. I mean, I agree that here's what I think. I don't know if he's cooked or not, but what I do think is I think it's weird that so many of these people are so mentally attached to this shit. Supposedly that night, this car was riding around and around doing business. According to whom, Paco? According to whom? Reddit? 4chan? There's 2 videos I know of the show, The Green Car, during the day in that neighborhood. So that may, So, what do you mean we shall see, man? You're the one that came up with the fucking claim. There you go, Betsy. Maybe he was sharpening his knife. Yes. Circling his prey and building up the courage. Yes. It's not the same front license plate. I don't know. Is that who came up with the theory? Ravioli? Is that who came up with the theory? Shit. How many times do these people got to be wrong, man? Like, show me one case that any of the true crime conspiracy theorists have ever been right about. Just show me one thing that's ever came to fruition. It's so crazy. Croppers are dying to get on Ann Taylor's payroll so they can assist her. Oh, that's even funnier. Like, and when you ask these people to back up their claims, they don't do shit. They're like, if you just look real hard at all the pixels, if you just look real hard. Paco says he works for Ann Taylor. Man, these people are fucking retarded as shit. Bundy reincarnated as Kohlberger, summoned by Spirit Box, hidden in the secret room in Christchurch and tunnel. Like, these people are, and here's what's crazy. That people can listen to someone say, I work for Ann Taylor. And no one says, Jesus Christ, this side is crazy. Like, no one hears a comment from this person that says, hey, I work for Ann Taylor, and no one says bullshit. No one says this person is clearly retarded. Man, that's some wild shit. It's some wild shit. Now, I don't mind people saying that they don't think Kohlberger's guilty, because for a long time I didn't either. I don't blame that shit at all. But, come on, man, there's clearly dumb shit that's being said. Yes, I don't know what a ravioli is. Yes, pumpkins are orange. That's crazy, as no one has ever yet showed the accused white Elantra either. Yes, they have. It's literally in the court documents. They have clearly showed the white Elantra that they believe was involved in the crime. They've clearly showed it. I can show you a picture of it right now. Guilty or not, there are many bullshit theories. Yeah, of course. Oh, remember when Justin said he worked for the defense? I do remember that. Same person that said Dylan Mortensen was a tranny. When they prove this getting car is the end of the case, it's not going to be the end of shit. It's not going to be the end of shit. Because even if it is the conspiracy you guys claim it to be, that means that it's not Brian's, but you are. I didn't say Brian had a sunroof at all. We're not even talking about Brian Kohlberger right now. When were we talking about Brian Kohlberger? When were we talking about Brian Kohlberger? We were talking about the car. What do you mean the state's going to be in big trouble? By whom? What's up, Ginger? And y'all said the same shit in the Delphi case. I'll still open up the burger spot after the trial. Yes. The state is showing you 4 different cars in 4 different pictures. No, they're not. Just look into the searches of the knife sheet they're trying to replace. Exactly. Yeah. There was a green Elantra, but green is mid-tone gray on back and white. I'm a graphic designer. All colors are shades of gray, never white. White is white. Too many coincidences. Are there any photos of the suspect car not taken with an infrared camera? I believe that the camera, that the photo that they got from the gas station was not taken with the infrared camera. I believe that was taken with a phone. You see what I'm saying? If it's not white, it's not right. I agree. My brain is starting to hurt reading these weird comments. Yeah, it's because they're not doing anything. All of a sudden, 3 years into the case, they say the car's green now. They're like, whoever said it was a white Elantra? And that shows you right there how gooberish these people are. These motherfuckers 3 years or later are saying, whoever said it was a white Elantra? What the fuck are you talking about? Yes, I've done lost it. Clearly done lost it, because I don't think the suspect vehicle one is a green Elantra. Clearly lost it. Do you think it was Ann Taylor's idea to try to bring up case law from 1800s? Is that yeah, it could have been. It's probably Ann Taylor's. I've seen videos where people were sneaking up the dumpsters on that house. You mean somebody went? Harsh is going to win that debate. You don't even know what we're debating, Jesse. You don't even know what we're debating. Anyway, so listen, you didn't see videos of anybody sneaking up from dumpsters. You saw someone throw something away in the dumpster. JB, you think the state is still sitting on something big? Nah, not really. I don't believe there's anything much less that they have to release. That's why I truly think it's very possible Kohlberger walks. Because I still, even though I think he did it, I wouldn't send him to the death penalty right now, because there's not enough, there's not a smoking gun piece of evidence. I still believe innocent until proven guilty, and I don't believe legally they've had enough. This is still all circumstantial. It's a lot of coincidences, though. Richie sent 499. He said, JB always coming up with the real and only the real recognize real. Thank you, Richie. Appreciate you, brother. I agree with you. There's not any real evidence. Everything's circumstantial. I agree with you 100%. And I've been saying it for 3 years. It appears that the Linda Lane camera and the light bulb camera at the 112 are in infrared mode, but all it takes for the third camera that picks up the vehicle is to be regular color and blue. Yeah. MC Mountain, you would think these idiots would pick a tan or gray or something unusual, not the most uncommon, brightest color in the fucking world. No, I agree with you, Mountain Man. I agree with you. And let's see here. Can I ask you why you think he could have done it? I actually believe it's too many coincidences. Somebody had to have done it, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Somebody had to have done it. Wouldn't you agree? Wouldn't you agree? Well, there is no contradictions. There is no contradictions. Just because I believe he doesn't believe I believe that there's enough evidence in a court of law to necessarily convict him. It's a lot of circumstantial shit. I believe, though, to me, so if he done it, what the fuck are DM and BF lying about? Because hoes lie. They probably got rid of some drugs and shit. If you want to know the truth, Jesse, bitches lie, man. Point to me one woman that doesn't lie. You know what I'm saying? What's up, Lori? How you doing, beautiful? How come they lied and said the kids were sleeping at first? Because they're liars. Because they was getting rid of probably some shit they didn't want in the house. Because there's probably some shit they didn't want to get caught up with. It's not that hard, really, when you think about it. Occam's razor, no, the 911 call was very real. The 911 call was real. You can't say everything's fake, Paco. I also believe it could be a mistrial. I do believe that's possible, Road Trek. But ultimately, I'll say this. Who was I answering to? Oh yeah, the girls. I think Occam's razor makes it really simple. They bullshitted they bullshitted and waited so they can get rid of some shit. You see what I'm saying? If you saw 4 kids in the house was supposed to be a bloody, why were they only talking about Xanax and they said nothing about blood? You talking about in the call? Good question. It's a very good question. Very good question. I still think there's a lot of weird shit in this case, but I don't think there's there's definitely not a green card. People just made that shit up. Seems to me AT is focused on trying to get rid of the DP. Yeah, I do think that. The house was a party house, absolutely. Dylan 19, alcohol. Maybe they didn't want 2 seniors to not graduate. Oh, man. Be Real says 911 call is a reenactment from 115. Hey, it's in the docs. It's a fake call. Jesse, I've been doing this shit for 20 years, brother. I've debated the best debaters on this planet. You think I'm not ready for your smoke? You're struggling at it in the chat room, bro. Never underestimate the stupidity of others. Exactly, Turner. Exactly. I agree. But I will say this. At the end of the day, if you're going to come up with a conspiracy theory, 11:50 a.m., sure. Let's see, what did he say? What did he say? It's a reenactment from the 11:50 a.m. in the docs. The 911 call is fake. I think it's just a matter of time of one thing and the next. I guess that's the question. I guess that would be. I wouldn't bring people up on the panel. The link is literally in the chat room right now. I mean, not in the chat, but it's literally in the description right now. I'm literally waiting. I don't do panels, but I can do panels. It's not a problem. If somebody is going to come up here with a legitimate debate or discussion, I'm 100% down. Most murder convictions are based solely on circumstantial evidence, so it doesn't make it any weaker. No, I agree with that. That makes sense, Daryl. No question. Do you think there was a cleanup job? Yes, I think there was a cleanup job. I think the girls, when I said I think they got rid of some drugs, that's what I meant. They cleaned up and got rid of some illegal shit. It's really not hard to figure out. Now, the only question left is who did the murders. JB isn't Dago, Jesse, you ain't about that life. No, Jesse is a logical and good dude. Have him up, JB. No problem. No problem. Cleaning up drugs is the logical scenario. Clearly the logical scenario. Here, let me. I'll put it in. I'll put it in the chat. On a night vision camera with shaded gray and regular, would that make it gray? Even though I don't know. But in the end, it's not about the survivors. No, it's not. I don't think it's about the survivors necessarily. I don't. Okay, well, that's awesome. I'm glad you've been buying this place. That's awesome. Circumstantial holds equal weight. Yeah, I agree. All right, so let's go ahead and see if he's coming up here. That's cool. I believe that's him right there. All right, hold on, bro. Hold on. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
JB, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, man? What's going down?
Oh, it's 2 a.m. here where I'm at. I'm 2 bottles deep. Haven't been drinking a lot lately, but haven't been getting a lot of sleep. I've been tossing and turning.
Really?
Staying up late, watching all this stuff about this case, and it actually keeps me up at night. It's such a mystery. There's a lot to keep track of, obviously.
Really? Hold on. Let me put you solo on the screen. Do you want me to put you on the camera or no?
I don't mind the camera. I don't hide from the camera.
Okay, just making sure. I don't want to dox you. You know what I mean.
I do a lot of video. I'm in Thailand. I'm quite a ways away from all the weirdos, anyways.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, man. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Clearly, you've been all right. Let me just come up with you and say this.
You done lost your mind, JB.
No, well, I wanted to address this first with you because all this time you've been in my comment section, you've been typically pretty respectful. But it seems like the minute I started to pull away from he's definitely not guilty camp, I noticed your attitude changed. Would you care to explain to us why?
First of all, I must say that me saying you done lost your mind, JB, I don't consider that disrespectful. I consider that sort of like a playful banter. I would expect a man such as yourself to take it that way. I wouldn't expect you to be offended by the fact that a guy like me would say, "You done lost your mind, JB." I mean,
not offended. Not offended at all by that.
Isn't that cool among bros or no?
Absolutely, it is. Not offended at all by that. I'm going on with a couple other comments that you made. I can't remember them offhand, but I just remembered it being off-putting, which is fine. Like I said, I noticed that once I began to take in other pieces of information, you seemed a little bit more irritated. So I'd like to know what position that I took altered.
Well, JB, I've had long discussions with Jeff H, and I'm just not the kind of guy that's going to say things that are disrespectful to people. So I'm sure if you review it further, you won't find anything that I said that was any more disrespectful than you done lost your mind.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I just think that you've pivoted and maybe, and I've been there in this case, and I must say that you did mention that people they pick a side. They're either a Republican or a Democrat. They're a guilter, a pro-burger, it's very polarizing. Such is life these days.
Mhm.
But um, I'm open to him being involved. I mean, let's face it. Where how did that DNA go on the sheath? If that DNA was actually on the sheath, I'm open to BK being some kind of weirdo. Maybe.
Wouldn't you
I just
agree?
don't think that.
Wouldn't you agree that's
I just
been?
don't think that the Dateline special offered us anything in the way of proof.
I,
It was to me, it was just a character assassination.
I can feel you there. Wouldn't you agree that my position has always been I'm open to if he's guilty, he's guilty. If he's not, I'm an innocent until proven guilty guy. What changed my position was more of the knife ordering through Amazon. That was when I began to creep over the other way. The Dateline shit wasn't what did it, and by any means. Now the Dateline thing, the only thing I gathered from the Dateline episode, if it's telling the truth, was the potential of Xana running upstairs, coming down, being killed in the doorway, Ethan being killed in the bed and asleep. It actually, what it did for me was make sense of how one single individual could kill all four in such a short amount of time. If Ethan, who's the only challenger, was asleep, who can't kill three broads in 5 minutes?
But wasn't there five broads? I
Yeah,
mean, what we're dealing in Bethany. To me, my thoughts were, and I said this the other day on a panel, is if you've just attacked Maddie and Kaylee, and
mhm.
you encounter Xana, and you now you're in a position where you've got to chase Xana down the stairs. Ethan's behind a door, and they're assuming that Ethan's sleeping. I'm not sure that that's. I don't know where the evidence of Ethan sleeping it comes from.
Mhm.
Xana was ordering DoorDash. They weren't home. Apparently, according to the court documents, they weren't home at 2:30. So what evidence do we have that Ethan was passed out sleeping? So you're chasing Xana down the stairs. You got Ethan to deal with, and there's still two other women in the house. And women aren't men, but you don't want to fight too many of them at once, and that adds up to three women and one man. I'm a pretty big dude, JB. Like, but I don't want to take on four people, even if three of them are women. I think at that point you got to cut your losses and bail out of the situation. I still don't think a single perpetrator makes sense. And I guess my biggest bone with you is, for me, I actually don't care about Brian or, I mean, Koberger. I got no interest in defending Koberger.
Right.
I want to know what they're covering up, because to me, them, like, I guess your answer in the chat was, "Well, bitches be lying," and you're right, bitches be lying, but cops be knowing that bitches be lying. So why are the cops letting them bitches lie? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It stinks like a cover up.
Well,
The cops should be sniffing that out and saying, "Hey, bitches, you lied.
Well,
What's up?"
Is it fair to say that we haven't had access to the interviews? We don't actually know. Maybe they did dig in and say, "Why you bitches lying?" But we don't know that yet because we haven't seen like a manuscript of the interviews. We barely just got the fucking 911 call a month or two ago. You know what I mean? Like, it is possible that they did dig in deep and question the 8 hours a lot more than we know. As we saw with, let's say, Delphi, we didn't get a lot of. In fact, until the case was over, we didn't get the calls from prison, the interviews, except for at the end of trial, we got a little bit more. I mean, more of them. It is very possible that there was conversations between the two I don't call them survivors, and the cops. It's very possible they did dig in and investigate. Isn't that true?
Yeah, but why? I mean, they shouldn't be lying for him. I mean, if they were hiding drugs, I could see letting them get away with it. Like, okay, we're not interested in, but it's now it's probably one of the most. It's the highest profile murder trial in like a couple since OJ. You know, putting it at risk over some bitches hiding some drugs. I think it's got to be more than hiding drugs. I really do.
Well, no, I'm not saying that the cops know that they were hiding the drugs. I definitely would believe that they would lie to the cops. But what I'm saying is that isn't it possible that they could have interrogated him, still not got the truth, but at least questioned it more than we believe they did? Like, all of us are saying, why didn't they question him about the 8 hours? Why didn't they question him? We really don't know that they didn't. Is that an accurate statement?
Yeah, we know very little. I mean, at the end of the day, we've just been given really small amounts of crumbs to make sense of. But that's also one of the problems. In the beginning, we were told refer to the PCA, and the fact that the PCA now is completely exposed as lies. Really, I mean, at the end of the day, the PC there was never any probable cause to arrest Brian Koberger, and there was certainly some lies that went into that PCA, and yeah, I mean, it's hard to trust when the information comes from the same people that produce the PC. That's one of the main points. Yeah. I had a discussion with Jeff H, and he says to me, he says, you're trusting random YouTubers on the internet, and I'm trusting the cops. Yeah. And I said, well, yeah, but the cops produce the PCA, and it's bullshit. And they even admit that now. Bill Thompson in court says it's bullshit. I mean, he didn't use the word bullshit, but he knows it's bullshit. You know it's bullshit. I know it's bullshit. So it's just hard to trust anything coming out from the prosecution when they produced that PCA and told us to focus on that solely. And yeah, the Dateline thing, I mean, it was very heavily edited and pointing. I mean, let's face it, he went to a pool party, got the number of a perfect, not a borderline 10, like a hot chick. Mm-hmm. He texts her once, she doesn't answer, and he doesn't text her again. JB, honestly, if you had that chick's number and you text her once and she doesn't answer, you text him again?
Yeah. At least one more drunk text. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, most dudes going to hit that up a few times more than just once, right?
Absolutely. So let's look at the things we agree on. By the way, let me give a shout out real quick. I do want to give a shout out real quick to Martin and Aaron. Thank you guys so much for hitting the tip jar. All right. So let's look at the things we agree on. Let's look at the things such as the PCA. Are we in agreement that the PCA in some way has over time showed itself to be full of shit?
Yeah, I mean 100%.
Yeah. Are we in agreement that most of the individual evidence that they claim is against Koberger is circumstantial and not very strong?
Certainly.
Can we agree that there's still a lot of coincidences and he either is the dumbest motherfucker or the unluckiest person ever? Would you agree with that statement?
100%.
And that's where I'm at. Koberger was either the most unlucky person ever, where all these coincidences are lining up, or he was just a complete dumb fuck that made a lot of mistakes.
So to me, though, that indicates that he's on the peripheral somehow, maybe has a connection, maybe involved, maybe a buddy of his is involved or something, rather than he's a single perpetrator that it was infatuated with Ted Bundy. I mean, to me, this theory of him being a single perpetrator that was trying to emulate Ted Bundy is laughable. If you know your serial killers, Ted Bundy's a failure. The guy's not. I mean, if you're going to be infatuated with a serial killer, look at the Zodiac.
The Zodiac's the only one. I'm with you. I'm with you there.
So I mean, I'm just not buying the theories. I'm just not buying and the heavy dose of media propaganda too. And JB, you know this as well as anybody. When you see the media all lined up to a certain cause and keep on putting out talking points, it sets off alarm bells, doesn't it? And the mainstream media is lined up to character assassinate Koberger. And in my opinion, if you think there's too much pointing toward him, I would say maybe that points toward his involvement. But as far as single perpetrator, man, that's just a stretch for me. I mean, that's so many things have to line up. I just don't see it. I'm
willing to accept multiple perpetrators, and in fact, for a long time, I believe that to be the case. However, if I'm starting to think that if Koberger did this, if he did it, right, which I believe the likelihood is high, that he did kind of fantasize about being the serial killer or something of that nature, and he failed miserably. I don't know about you, but I used to be a criminal. The dumbest thing you could do is crimes with other people. It literally is. I've never done it, and the reason for that is because I never wanted someone to tell on me. So the idea of doing a home invasion, intimate knife slaughtering killing with other people that could then tell on me, that sounds like a horrible plan.
Well, how much drugs did you do at the time, JB?
Is that what you're saying? That you think he was on it? Is that what you're thinking? Well, I guess that's a good point.
Well, I'm just saying once you get into doing enough drugs, all logic goes out the window,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
your logic about don't trust others. As soon as you start doing drugs with other people, things get blurred. And I'm not speaking from. I'm not a drug guy.
Yeah.
I'm a booze guy.
Same here.
I'm a pretty straight guy, but I come from the Hell's Angels capital of the world. I've spent a lot of time with a lot of really bad people. I've been involved in a lot of things. Let's say that the fact that I don't have a criminal record at the age of almost 50 is a flat out miracle. But yeah, I've certainly seen a few things and done a few things that most people haven't. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. No, I understand. I know what you mean. All right. So with this case, would you agree that in order for something to be called a conspiracy, there has to be an agenda behind the conspiracy? Whether we're talking about false flags, things of this nature, what would be the agenda for the federal government, the mainstream media, and the state of Idaho, for all of them to come together to provide a cover-up or a false flag or frame someone? I don't know if you believe that or not, but if you listen to a lot of people in the chat and in this community, that's what they believe. Do you believe that?
I don't have a favorite conspiracy theory. I'm looking at the facts, what I see, and it appears to be somebody's covering up for something, and I have no idea what it is. And I'm not I've heard Scott Green was banging Dylan, and I've heard the sale of the universe. I've heard a lot of theories. I haven't seen any evidence to support any of them. And my position is simply that somebody's lying, and I guess to your point, when you get a large group of people that obviously are participating in a lie, such as the federal government, the local authorities, and the supposed victims, it has to be a conspiracy of some sort. I haven't seen enough evidence, and I can't put my finger on what that might be, but I guess that's where I'm at. That's the question I want to answer. And whether Koberger was involved or not, I almost don't give a fuck, to be honest with you.
I don't give a fuck. I'm with you there. I don't care.
And if they somehow fucking prove that Koberger was there, and he goes down as single perp, I'm never going to believe that. I'm going to believe that it's bigger than that, and that something got covered up. And yeah. Do I know what that is? I mean, I guess there's a lot of theories out there. I can't pick one. Until I'm not about to come on and tell other people that I believe in something unless I've got evidence or reason to believe. But I do think that I do have enough from what I've seen, from what's out there. There's enough reason to be skeptical of this case. The PCA, the media propaganda machines attacking him. And Steve G coming out and telling these stories that the way Steve G talks about this case, it doesn't add up a lot. Like he's sending out a lot of mixed messages, and has been for a long time. In fact, the entire family, all the families of the victims, some pretty suspicious behavior, in my opinion.
I truly believe that any case that we analyze in depth like this, for such a long period of time, we're all going to find shit that we think is weird. You know what I mean? Like, why did they wait 8 hours? Obviously, there's a good question. That's a good question. But then we look at shit like Steve Gonsalves. Occam's razor probably says that he's just a dude confused and hurt and fucked up about his daughter. So he said a lot of dumb shit that has been, it just hasn't added up. And to be perfectly honest, if I went through some shit like that, there may be times I say some shit and it just doesn't add up. And I don't know, man. It depends on your frame of mind.
Well, are you aware of the big discrepancy on the 911 call? Because the true crime community was first introduced to the theory of the 911 call to justify the 8-hour delay on the drunk turkey. I'm sorry. Am I allowed to mention?
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Okay. So the drunk turkey show had an interview with Christy Gonzalez.
Yeah.
Gonsalves, sorry. And there was a story put out there about the 911 call. It was very detailed, got right into it. It explained everything. And that was meant to explain the 8-hour delay, what happened, exactly what happened. Yeah. And then the recent court drop was completely different than that.
Right.
Totally different.
Right.
So Steve does an interview recently with Daniel on the drunk turkey.
Yeah.
And Daniel actually asked him about that. He said, listen, Steve, originally we heard this story about the 911 call and now we find out that none of that was sort of true. So,
right.
What do you say for yourself? And Steve, his answer was something to the degree of, I wasn't sure if it was the bedroom door that was locked or if it was the front door that was locked, but what does it matter? And I mean,
it matters.
From my point of view,
it fucking matters.
Well, I mean, if it was the front door that was locked,
yeah,
that means they weren't in the house. So that means the entire story is shot all to hell.
Yeah.
And it also just if you're the father, and I mean, Steve G is representing himself as a passionate father who's, hired private investigators. He's concerned about every detail.
Yeah.
How the fuck could he not know what door they're talking about? I don't buy that for a fucking second. I just really don't.
I definitely agree with you there. I think Steve Gonsalves has put his foot in his mouth a lot. I think that, especially during the time we didn't have no information leaking. So it was just shit like Steve Gonsalves was our only connection inside.
Well, you remember his attitude in the beginning too. He was he was very critical of law enforcement in the beginning, and he after it seems like there was that point when he got in trouble. I don't know if you remember this, but he intended to meet an informant in a hotel room. Yeah, and the FBI intervened and said, you better be careful. You're not allowed, and he's pretty much fallen in line after that.
He in the beginning he questioned law enforcement as much as all of us, and then it's like just like that, he basically became a cuck to him. And so I agree with you that he and so I guess what I think inside is that he saw something we didn't see. There's part of me that thinks that, but then again, what could it be? Does that make sense? Like, there's part of me that feels like he knows some shit we don't know, and that's what flipped him so quickly. But I guess it could have been something else, or he was just full of shit.
Well, I mean, if you're asking me what I think, I mean, the way I judge people, the way I listen when I listen to that guy talk, I will say that I empathize with him. Yeah. I mean, he lost a daughter, and I mean, I feel terrible for him. I don't want to say bad things about him.
Mm-hmm. Sure,
but he doesn't come across as being honest. I mean, he really, when I hear what he's saying, he comes across as a guy that has an agenda and is coming out to put his agenda forward, and it doesn't sound honest. I mean, the way he answers questions, and perhaps the situation he's in, that's what he's got to do. But I don't consider Steve Gonsalves a reputable source in this case at this point in time.
All right. Questions I want to ask you while we're still on here. Let's go to the knife sheath DNA. Do you believe that? I mean, obviously they went through the DNA thing, and even though I think the feds did some shady shit in order to get the DNA, do you believe the DNA on the knife sheath was Brian Kohlberger's, and how do you believe it got there? I understand touch DNA. I understand all of that. How do you believe it got there?
Well, the defense isn't arguing that it's not his DNA, right?
Right.
I mean, as far as I can see, the defense has not argued that it's not his DNA. So I can't. If the defense isn't arguing that, I can't argue it.
You're right.
I will say though that based on the nature of trace DNA, we're not going to call it touch DNA, trace DNA, and the nature of how they found it and where they found it. If I was the defense attorney and I was cross-examining the state's DNA expert, I would ask the DNA expert. I would say, so where did you find the trace DNA? And they would tell you in the inside of the buccal snap, and you would ask them, well, how does it get there? And well, they would say, well, he must have touched the button. He must have touched the button, and then you'd have a big fight about whether or not he touched the button or he shook hands with somebody else who touched it. There's that argument, but the most significant part about that is that then you would move on to why wasn't his DNA found anywhere else in the house? And the explanation for that's going to be, well, he was clearly wearing gloves. I mean, he had to be wearing like a suit to protect any of his DNA from being found anywhere else in the house. So the fact that little bit of that,
or in his car, like the fact that they don't have, no, I'm with you there. The DNA thing outside of the knife sheath, whether it be in the house or even in his car.
Yeah, but hear me out, JB.
Go ahead.
The fact that I believe that the defense could get the prosecution to admit that, yeah, he's obviously wearing protective equipment,
Sure.
and that's why his DNA isn't appearing everywhere in the crime scene. And then you ask them, well, how did it get on the sheath? And they're going to say, well, he probably handled it before he arrived, right? And that's the most logical. I mean, he was at home before the crime and he handled it there. But that immediately puts that knife sheath outside the crime scene. That puts him outside that takes away that whole idea that the DNA on the knife sheath puts him in the crime scene. That's what everybody thinks, right? Oh, wow, they found his DNA at the crime scene. But the way they found it almost proves that it could not have been placed at the crime scene on that sheath at that time. The only way that Kohberger could have put his DNA on there, if he was there with a protective suit, his DNA couldn't be put on that sheath at that location at 11222 King Road.
Oh, I see.
You know what I'm saying?
I see exactly what you're saying. That ultimately, even if his print was on there, because he was wearing gloves, he didn't put it on there in there. So no matter what, the print had to have been, if it was his, had to have been from before the murder scene. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying, and I think the cross-examination could prove that if put it this way, if it's Alan Jackson,
right?
And I'm not sure if you're familiar with Alan Jackson in the Karen Reed case, but I think Alan Jackson could get the state's expert to admit that, basically.
Okay, that would be an interesting twist, but okay. So let's go with that for a second. Let's look at some of the other things. Now, even though there was the 27 square mile radius when it comes to the phone pings, apparently, let's talk about the phone shutting off. Now, I've like often said that my phone shuts off about 3-4 a.m. all the time because I'm usually watching it as I'm laying down. Problem with the Kohberger phone shutting off is that he had already left his house. Like it can't be an excuse as I fell asleep with it watching YouTube and then woke up and plugged it back in. He clearly left his house. Clearly shut the phone off or something of that nature. And then during the time span that these things probably existed. It's not that I believe this puts him there and that this is a smoking gun, but when you add that with other coincidences, which I'm going to get to following this, such as the Amazon, such as this, it does kind of look bad, does it not?
I mean, there's absolutely a narrative that's been crafted that looks bad, and and if you take it at face value, certainly, but. I mean, I keep on going back to the fact that this guy is supposed to be a forensic expert that took his phone with him. That took his phone with him in the first place. So, I mean, it's hard to wrap your head. What's more likely? This guy taking his phone with him in the first place and turning it off, or the fact that he, it's hard. It's a difficult question to answer. But
in the beginning of all this, I actually said there's no way in hell he did all that because he's too smart. As these things have accumulated, I look at him.
You mentioned Occam's razor. Right?
Yeah.
Occam's razor would suggest he's too smart to bring his phone.
I don't know if all of these things line up the way that, for instance, the fucking K-Bar ordered to his house, the searching, looking for ways
I don't put any weight in that until I see we haven't seen any details about that. All we're hearing is there's a story, and I mean, put it this way: if they actually show the K-Bar being with a tan that's the thing. Mm-hmm. K-Bar, tan leather knife sheath, USMC logo, but they're not saying that.
Yeah,
JB. Right. And if it had that, wouldn't they be saying that? Like, why are they being so vague about that K-Bar? Because I'd be right there with you if they could say it was the K-Bar.
If we see during the court proceedings that he ordered a knife sheath with the brown leather sheath, or not the knife with the K-Bar with the sheath, and they cannot produce, him or his family cannot produce said knife or sheath. And then they can once again go in there and prove that he looked for a replacement and actually looked up ways to erase, even though he was unable to do it, to erase Amazon search history or purchase history. That's what the documents were saying, right? If it's proven that a K-Bar, as they have described, was delivered there, but they can't produce it, and then he looked for it after the murders, that's not a red flag to you at all?
It's a huge, I mean, JB, there's been a lot of red flags. There's been a lot of times when I've thought, hey, maybe Brian did this. You know, like I've said that many times.
Right.
But each time the prosecution and the law enforcement has done something so shady that it's made me think I just can't trust them when they come out with this stuff. And again, this knife stuff, it's a story that it's in the court documents. It's not very specific. They actually refer to it as a K-Bar and not the K-Bar.
Right.
They don't use. I mean, in the PCA, it's very clearly detailed: tan leather knife sheath with USMC logo. Mm-hmm. Doesn't say that in the other documents.
Okay.
And yeah, if it's brought out and it's proven that he actually bought that and had it delivered to him and it's exactly the same, then I would have to say that I would have to assume that's his then. Mm-hmm. And that I think that would implicate him to a certain degree that he was either involved or he knows the perpetrator or he's close to the perpetrator. I still don't. That still wouldn't be enough for me to buy into the single perpetrator theory. I don't think a single man can go in and take out. I don't think a single man can go into a house with 6 people and do that and come out unscathed and then take a selfie 4 hours later with no injuries to your hands or face. I just don't believe that. I don't buy that.
I've got a question for you. What do you First of all, I do want to say thank you to the dude that just sent the super chat. Appreciate you, Swiggles. I want to ask you this. What would it take? What evidence would it take? And I'm asking this because of Delphi. As you've seen in our community, we got a confession in Delphi, and people are still like, oh, he didn't do it. So I got to ask you this. What piece of evidence or what event or what could you see that would make you say, Koberger did this shit?
Very simple. Very simple answer to that question, JB.
All right.
Explain the roommates. So prove to me that them bitches were just lying because they were hiding their drugs. Explain to me what did you say to Adam and all this other peripheral stuff around this investigation. If all that's explained, right? Get rid of all that, and then you want to go toward Koberger, fine. But in the meantime, there's all this stuff that sort of drifts away from that points towards something else.
So,
and until that's explained, I can't buy into the single perpetrator Koberger theory.
So do you believe that the roommates were involved?
I certainly believe that they knew. I think they, in fact, I think if you really examine it, JB, Dylan apparently went to Kaylee's hometown to get her to come back to Moscow. And then that night, we didn't know this in the beginning. The PCA didn't explain any of this, but the last court docs said that Dylan, Bethany, Xana, and Maddie were sitting on a bed in a bedroom debating whether they should go back to the food truck at just after 2 a.m. And that story sort of sounds like Dylan explaining why she texted the driver at 2:16 a.m.
Right.
And that story didn't come out until after it came out that she had texted that driver.
I do think it's weird she texted the driver. I'll give you that.
Well, how about adding the contact 10 minutes before the alleged murder happened?
I find that I will give you that. And I will say this: there's a whole. Why do you think I was pro burger for so long? It's because there's a lot of fucked up shit here. However, basically the same question.
I don't consider myself a pro burger.
Yeah,
I'm more than welcome to sell him up the river.
Yes,
I don't care about him.
By the way,
I just think those bitches are lying. I'm not buying into the single perpetrator theory.
The only reason I use the word pro burger is because that's what the people label us. That's not immediately like Kohlberger's guilty. I'm an innocent until proven guilty guy. With me, I still would not send him to the death penalty because I don't think there's a smoking gun. And right now it's just circumstantial evidence. And yeah, I'm convinced he did it, but not beyond a reasonable doubt. Do you see what I'm saying? Like it is. I'm on edge. Like, I think it's likely Kohlberger did it. There's no other suspect that, unless we're going to go back to Emma Bailey's boyfriend, there's no other suspect that I would even remotely consider in that group. I'm not like these people that constantly bring up Brian Kopacka, things like that. I don't think he had anything to do with any of this. So, like, and there's a lot of the conspiracy theories I definitely don't buy. Because I believe this case to be very insignificant with insignificant players. I do think the local police could have made an arrest too quick and then covered it up, but I do not believe they could convince the FBI, the mainstream, everybody else to coincide with that conspiracy. Does that make sense?
It does, but I mean, I'm currently watching the Karen Reed trial. I did watch the Delphi trial, and we certainly disagree when it comes to the Delphi trial. For me, whether or not you think Richard Allen was guilty, like you're welcome to think that. There wasn't a lot of evidence against him.
There was no evidence against him.
You seem to be convinced by his confession, but he was one of several people who can confess to that crime, and confess. The fact is, you lock somebody in a room and beat them until they tell you what you want to hear. They're going to tell you what you want to hear, and that appeared to be what happened to Richard Allen.
I will say that we don't know that the other confessions existed. By the way, Ron Logan is my number 2 guy. Like, I do think Ron Logan, if it's not Richard Allen.
And Ron Logan did also confess, right?
To an inmate, to a fellow inmate. That's who they're saying, the dude with the tatted up face, that's who they're saying Ron Logan confessed to. And I do think it's very possible. But
I'm just saying the actual evidence against Richard Allen was no. I mean, I certainly don't. I would certainly hope that if I'm ever on trial for something, evidence like that's not going to bury me.
Well, and I don't think it's the evidence that buried him. I think that when a man tells you, yes, I murdered and tried to rape 2 little girls, and he says it out of his own mouth. And the reason why I take the confession seriously, more serious than other people, is because I've been in the same prison he was in. The belief system that he was just in there getting beat up and tortured. I'm telling you, the way Westville Correctional is, that it can happen, but he was already in solitary. He was already in the hole.
He's probably not the man that you are, though, JB. I mean, as far as I know, the dude never had a criminal record, never did anything in his life.
Yep.
And I just find it hard to believe that at the age of whatever, what was he, 50 when this happened, or like my age or something?
Yeah, I think he was around. Yeah, he may.
At the age of 50, you're going to just pop off and rape and murder two girls? Like, generally, and you're a guy that knows. Generally, guys that do shit like that have a history of doing shit like
Yeah.
that, right?
Yeah,
it's
you
not
don't.
something you just up and decide to do when
Yeah.
you're 50 years
Yeah,
old.
you don't fit. Yeah, no, you don't just become a child molester or a desired child molester or whatever the fuck he was trying to be. Now you might fuck around and be a killer, but usually that's on accident or you snapped. I don't think that we wake up one day and say we want to go sexually abuse and rape and murder two kids at 50 years old. I don't believe we do. So you get that's a point to your point on Richard Allen. That's a good point there. But the confession, when I hear a man say that they've done the most hideous shit in the world, unless I think they're doing it for attention, I tend to believe them. I tend to believe them more than not believe them. Does that make sense? Like if Kohlberger came out right now and said I did this shit, I'm going to be leaning towards believing them.
Again, I don't give a shit if Goldberg did this shit. I want to know what the bitches are lying about. That's really what I want to know. And that's the only reason I'm interested in this case.
Yeah.
I mean, four people got sliced and diced. I mean, people get sliced and diced. Heaven forbid if any of the friends and family are listening. People get killed all the time. The only reason any of us are paying attention to this is because of the anomaly of the fact that it didn't get reported for 8 hours.
Yeah.
That's basically what's drawn all the attention to it.
I tell people, the whole reason I even do this channel is because to me, this is just a big game of Clue, right? And I think, so I agree with you. For most of us, it doesn't really matter. That's why I get so weird about these people that in the audience and that are so attached to it. For most of us, this is just us watching a horror movie or playing a game of Clue. It's not really have an effect on our life. And so, like, I agree with you. It doesn't really matter to me either way. However, it's a fun thing to break down and try to, just like with Clue, it's a fun thing to try to break down and win the game. So I feel like people get too married to their sides though here. Like like right now, they could show me evidence that proves Kohlberger didn't do it, and I'll jump right back over. To me, the more we take in information,
I've predicted that's what's going to happen. Actually,
yeah.
And I'm going to be doing a bit of a victory dance when JB comes back to the ProBreaker side.
Well, I mean, because I think if you think logically and you look at things unbiasedly, anytime new information is introduced, it should change the way you look at something if it's legit information or you believe it to be. Like, look, I could be fooled. It could be completely wrong that the knife, the K-bar in the Amazon wasn't the K-bar in the Amazon. But to me, when you look at all of these different, there's so many coincidences, even shit that I don't necessarily take as a smoking gun, like the phone, like the no alibi, which I don't think any of us would have an alibi if we were single at 4:00 in the morning. But there's so many coincidences that's why I say he's either guilty or the most unlucky person in the world, because everything is lining up. Even all the way down to the weird shit like him fucking going through his trash just so happens right when they fucking come in his door. Like, there's so much weird shit with this case and with Kohlberger that it's not that I noticed it in the beginning, but as time adds up, you begin to notice it. And that's how it is with me, man. So just like it was just the knife and Amazon order that made me no longer believe Kohlberger was innocent. All it would take is really a good piece of information to send me back to the other side. Because I don't have a strong feeling either way. I'm on the fence, believe it or not. So,
yeah, well, I guess where I'm standing is I just don't trust the source, because the source, like I said before, the source that's telling me these things is also the source that came out with the PCA. So I'm giving until proven otherwise, I'm giving them about as much weight as I give the PCA, because they've all, what's the saying? Fool me once, shame on me, or fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me.
Somebody in the comment section said all content creators have steered clear of the trans issue because no one believes the motherfucker was trans. Very few.
There is no trans issue.
Yeah, no,
What trans?
yeah, no. This is they really believe that retarded motherfucker that used to be around that said Dylan was trans. He was a troll. It wasn't even real. Justin was completely like there was something wrong with the dude. But let me ask you this. Oh damn! It fucking off. Oh. Okay, in the last week, everybody's talking about this green car. Will you please explain to me what the fuck's going on with this shit?
I mean, to me, it's very compelling. You got a green car that lived next door. It's an Elantra, same year, right?
Yeah.
And you have so you have this security camera. It's an infrared camera.
Okay.
And they already have. I've seen court trials testimony with an expert testifying that colors like lime green and orange and yellow will show up on infrared cameras as white. And actually, when you're looking at that footage that was on Dateline even, the pumpkins, obviously pumpkins are orange. They're white in that footage, right? Like, just look at the pumpkins. The pumpkins are white, right? And the car is white. The big thing with the green car is the green car has a license plate wrapped around the front fender.
Okay.
No other car in Pullman or in Moscow is going to have a license plate wrapped around the front fender that way.
Okay.
And you can see like a little bump if you really zoom in. You can now. I mean, maybe you can see what you want to see, but the demonstrations that I've seen have been quite convincing. And I guess my explanation, JB, is this is what I'm faced with. The people who believe it's the green car, are presenting a unique characteristic of one green car that happens to reside at Queen Road Apartments, directly across the street from 1122 King, right?
Yeah.
The crime scene.
Yeah.
It's the neighbor's car, and it has a unique characteristic. In all the court documents, in all the date lines, and all those, they only ever say it's a white Elantra, and it has to be Brian's car because it's white. I mean, they don't ever mention any unique characteristics about Brian's car that would lead you to believe that the car you're seeing in the video is actually Brian's car, other than the fact that we believe and to qualify, we believe it's an Elantra, this model, this year.
Yeah.
When they got the year, and they originally got the year wrong.
Right.
And they're not saying, well, we can see a scratch or we can see a bumper, we can see that. I guess they're trying to say we don't see a front plate. But again, the University of Idaho has tons of foreign students, or not foreign, but students from other states that wouldn't have a front plate. But the theory about the green car is that it has a unique signature, and that has been identified. It makes more sense to me. To be honest.
Can I ask you a question? If you are they saying that the killer was in the green car? Is that
No?
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
Nobody's drawing that conclusion.
Okay.
In fact, what they're actually saying is that he's a drug dealer and he was dropping off drugs, and he was driving around dropping off drugs,
Bro,
and that's why he was driving around.
Now I used to, all right. Now I can bring my expertise in. Listen, I'm not going to hot dog the spot, as we used to call it, by driving around a neighborhood I can clearly walk in over and over and draw attention to my car while I got drugs in my car. My point, if he was right there, he was in that neighborhood. If I'm just selling drugs inside my neighborhood, close enough to where I'm driving around my damn thing a million times, I'm just going to walk it. Like, it's because at least on foot, if I see a car, I can just throw the fucking drugs off into a yard. Like, there's a million, like, to hot dog the spot, which is to bring attention to the spot by driving the car over and over and over in the same spot, speeding, doing all this when I'm just making drug runs. When I could just easily walk and do it, it doesn't make any sense to me. So that green line,
JB,
go ahead.
JB, do you mind if I pay you a compliment?
Yes.
You're a pretty intelligent individual, You spent time in jail, right?
Yes.
The majority of guys in jail, were they intelligent individuals?
No, they were not.
No, they were not. So the
Yeah,
idea that some dumbass would be driving his car around
yeah.
shouldn't be that much of a stretch to me.
He wasn't going to be a drug dealer for long. Then, if that's him, and you're right, and this was a drug dealer doing this shit,
Hey,
he wasn't going to be a drug dealer for long.
this ain't my theory. I'm just telling you what
Yeah,
they're saying. And again, my point of view on this
yeah,
is it's there's 2 points of view. The state says it's a white car and it's Brian's car, but they're not saying why it's Brian's car, right? They're not saying it's Brian's car because of all these distinguishing features. But the people saying it's the green car, they have distinguishing features, and they're actually zooming in to the footage that's been provided in the dateline from the dateline. They're zooming in and saying, "Look, here it is. It's this car." And to me, that's pretty compelling. And they also have like still frames where there's green, like a green tinge coming off the car.
yeah.
Like, yeah, it appears to be white, but there's like a green glow, like an aura of green coming off the car in still frames. And if you do your research, like just fucking Google it.
Mm-hmm.
Infrared cameras will show green and orange and various colors as white because they only show they only showed
Yep.
dark and light, and if they decide it's light, they just show it as white. So I mean, to me, it's very
Okay.
compelling, and we get back to the fact that the original reports came out with the wrong year, and then they changed it when they arrested Koberger when they had his name. I mean, it just makes too much sense. It starts to fit in.
Yeah. I hear you. I think a lot of these things are extra. I guess my question is why weren't these theories here all this time? Why all of a sudden is a green car popped up this week?
Apparently, the actual guy that had the green car theory came out with it like, I don't know, at least a year ago. His name's Mark B.
Okay.
And because he just didn't have a big enough platform, it never got any traction until Lana came out with it, and Lana made it mainstream. And like I say, it's and now a lot of people find it compelling.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything for the most part is compelling in this case. I mean, I've always thought that even the theories that I just completely disagree with, I do think maybe I'm overwhelmed with this case and all the theories we've heard over the years. I'm sure I've seen you around a while. So what I mean is that you got to admit we've heard a lot of bullshit theories in this case
Absolutely, and I'm absolutely not willing to accept a lot of the, like, when it comes to Linda Lane grub truck videos. I'm just not interested in that shit. I'm only interested in common sense.
Yeah.
But let me tell you this though: when this whole thing came out with Lana and this green car, I watched Lana's episode, and the first thing I thought of was I was actually on panel with guys live streaming from when they were wrecking the house.
Right.
And I think JLR was there. Do you mind if I mention people?
I don't mind at all, man. No, I
So
definitely don't mind when
Rory, CJ, JLR, they're
Yeah.
all streaming live from the demolition.
Yeah.
And there was a green car just going by, past, back and forth.
Yeah.
And they kept on mentioning, what the fuck is that green car doing?
Yeah.
And for a while it parked. And there was a lot of people suspicious of this green car. And this, that was when they were demolishing the house years ago.
Yeah.
Or a year ago. And I remembered that when this whole thing came out.
Yeah.
And now that's become a topic again.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it's interesting that it has become a topic. It's just, I guess when you hear I think that's also another reason why I've went. It's funny because I got a comment saying, JB, you went to the dark side. First of all, that's hilarious. That's number one. But also, I think that when I hear these constant theories, it makes me want to be on the sane side. And because See, it's when you're reading comments constantly and you're seeing all these theories, and and they're so serious about it too. Like I remember and it goes in segments. Like remember the tunnels theory, and even though I came back out and I said, look, the tunnels aren't real. Yes, they're under Moscow, but they're not under the house of that we're talking about. There is no tunnel right below 1122. Like that should have put the kibosh on all this, but then they kept going, and then the theory kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Such as wrestler Dave Batista was in the tunnels, and they did it for the guy that runs the college, and they went through the tunnels and killed. Like dude, it was so the theories were getting so bizarre. I think that as time has progressed, because they keep coming up with new theories, whether it be the cartels or trannies and shit like this. My common sense tells me to cross the road and let the retards kind of be over here and I'll be over here. And I think that's why it's pushed me more towards believing things that I think are more likely, such as the Amazon order, things like this. Because if I have to be on the side with the green cars and the Batistas in the tunnels and the aliens coming down and doing it, I think I'm gonna be. I think I'd rather be on. I think I'd rather believe the PCA, even though I think it's complete bullshit.
Really, the PCA, wow. Well, I will say that I've never been one to talk about tunnels, or
Yeah.
I've never been one to get into any of that stuff.
Oh.
In fact, I was on panels talking about this case in the beginning when it first kicked off, before they even had a suspect. I was talking about the case on panels, and
Right.
then there was just too much drama in the true crime community. Creators that I was on panel with were fighting with their friends, and I just had to step away for like a long period. I wasn't interested. I do my own thing. I do a sports thing. It's far more lucrative than true crime.
What's funny about that is if you do what I think you do, it's funny because I used to literally sports gamble for a living. It was what I did when I first started YouTube and didn't really make money doing it. I did handicap and shit like that. So it's really interesting to hear that. But go ahead.
Yeah, well, basically what I do is I judge. I make educated guesses for a living. That's what I do. I do hypothesis. I look at what the general public is looking at and where they're making mistakes, and essentially, if I'm not isolating mistakes that are made by the general public, I'm not making money. So that's essentially what my job description is.
Okay.
And that I don't have any. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not
right.
I'm just that's what I do, and true crime is a hobby for me. But
absolutely.
Anyways, I've jumped back into it recently with at certain places. But anyways, I'm not interested in the conspiracy theories.
Right.
In the beginning, though, when WSU Kim and Dave came out with their theories, that was really considered. That was considered like along the lines of like parachutes and tunnels and real conspiracy theory type stuff.
I forgot.
But
I forgot about the parachutes.
I always thought that their stories, WSU Kim and Dave, made more sense to me. I mean, that was more plausible. That was the more Occam. It fit Occam's razor better than the other stories.
Well,
okay,
yeah. I agree with you, but as I was listening to Kim back then, and I can't remember whose podcast she was on, but I guess she went into this weird, wild. As she was telling the story, she's like, the animosity happened because the people in the house, it was something like, it was some crazy shit. It involved Black Lives Matter and all kinds of goofy shit. And I'm like, what the fuck is this? You see what I'm saying? Like, and once again, you if you listen to me enough, I automatically think something's bullshit when people automatically, just like in Delphi, they said, oh, it's the white supremacist fault. Here, they said the same fucking thing. And I'm sorry. I'm literally a white nationalist, and I'm telling you right now, none of my fellow white nationalists are out here murdering fucking white kids. It's not happening. And so usually that's where I cut off a lot of these things and a lot of the theories that people listen to, whether we're talking about Delphi, shit like this. When it gets into what I consider someone trying to make a political statement, which I think a lot of that shit is on here, it muddies the water. Do you see what I'm saying? So like when I'm seeing a connection, a trends, if you will, and it all seems to be going back to this, in the end of the theory is pointing to one group of people. Not even one person, but whether it be the cartels, whether it be the white supremacists, it just seems to be the group boogeymen that everybody's constantly worried about. I see these theories end up pointing to. Of course, I'm going to say this is fucking stupid.
Yeah, well, not everything Kim said has panned out. And
Right.
I think it was quite clear that she was like a wine mom. That, and while I'm saying that, I'm like on my third bottle already.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think she had a few bottles every time she came on panel and spewed a bunch of shit. But her original story, I think, was spot on, and it matched up perfectly with Dave's story. And just the Snapchats and the explanation of the explanation of the roommates to me fit like a glove. And the rest, WSU Kim came on and said all sorts of shit. I can't speak for most of that, but her story about the roommates I thought was, and I still think, when we're looking at this case, the Dateline doesn't want to talk about that. You know what I mean? Why does Dateline not want to? To me, it's fucking telling that Dateline does a whole story about all these people, all these women. Brian Koberger, Asian woman. Also, the Asian woman that claims he broke into her apartment, that is clearly a woman scorned.
No, you're right.
Clearly that whole thing doesn't exist. I mean, the fact that she's now saying that he broke into her, she made that up to get him to come over, and he didn't want any. I mean, that's plain as day to see for any dude.
I agree. I agree 1,000%. Then now,
the Dave and Kim stories just make sense, and they're being ignored. And to me, those stories are closer to the answers to this case than any of the K-bar knife purchases online.
Well, I will say this: all the allegations from women in regards to Brian Koberger, I think every single one's full of shit. We can go back in some way or another. Like, let's go back to the Tinder girl, that big fat bitch with the pink hair. We all know she's full of shit. If she stayed and watched 2 movies with dudes, she probably sucked him up. She probably fucked him. So this coming back later on, saying he was weird, he touched me, he tried to rub me, tried to massage me. But any dude knows, if a woman stays and watches 2 movies with you, which she said she did, she's staying for a reason. Am I right or am I wrong?
Well, absolutely. Not only that, if you got like a 10 giving you her number and you call her, you text her once, she doesn't answer. If you don't actually text her again, you're showing extreme patience. I mean, I'm not that much of a man. I couldn't. If a 10 gives me your number, I'm texting her. Probably a half a dozen times before I get the hint.
I think we all try to be tough with ourselves and be like, I ain't gonna text her back till she texts me. But let's be honest, the minute we get that first beer or shot in us, we're like, you know what? Maybe she was busy. Let me go ahead and maybe she's not. You know what I'm saying? We all would text again. However, so no, I have always fought against the Brian Koberger's an incel, weirdo, creepo. You got to remember, motherfuckers loved me 2 years ago because I said Koberger pimping. I've always said that Brian Koberger's not the weird incel that people make him out to be. Every time I see him in photos or even photos in the past with chicks, it's not like he doesn't have a history of chicks being around him. I don't even understand where the theory came up.
Well, character assassination, right? I mean, that's what the Dateline episode was all about. That's what it's all about, is assassinating his character. It's not real. And that's why I'm a little bit shocked that you're, I I'm not shocked that you want to be skeptical about some of the new information, but
Yeah.
I'm shocked that you, in my opinion, JB, I think you need to be more skeptical of where the information's coming from,
And I
because
did.
it's coming from the same people that are telling you he was an incel, that are tell all these things that you just admitted that you don't believe, right? This is where the information's coming from.
Do you? Well, let me ask. Some things I'm looking at from a logical perspective, and let me give you an example. It makes sense that Ethan was laying down and asleep when he was murdered. It makes sense to me because that's exactly how a person would get away with so much in so little time, is if you take out the physical threat. For instance, in my home, if I'm drunk, passed out, that is how you can kill my whole family in fucking 10 minutes. Because the big one, the person that would actually be the resistance to your murder, is passed out drunk. So what I'm saying is Ethan was the big one. He was the athlete. If the dude was just asleep, passed out, there was never an ability so now it's just 3 chicks, man. And we're not talking about big fat fucking chicks that can sumo wrestle you. We're talking about 2 chicks that was probably asleep, being Kaylee and Maddie. So one of them got the raw end of the deal. The other one probably fought back a little bit. And then Xana couldn't have been that difficult. And then Ethan was passed out. I think 8-9 minutes is a way more than enough time to handle 3 drunk chicks and a sleep dude. So I say that.
Go. Disagree. I'm just going to have to disagree.
Have you?
The way I look at it, so you take care of Kaylee and Maddie,
Yeah.
and then you're interrupted by Xana. And I mean, I don't know what the state's trying to allege that what he knew about the house. I mean, they're trying to say he stalked the house, he knew all this stuff.
Right.
Well, what did he know? I mean, there was an awful lot of vehicles in front of the house at the time.
Yeah.
Who did he know was in the house? But if he went there to attack Maddie or Kaylee, and he taken care of them, and then now he's chasing Xana down the stairs, does he know that Ethan's in the house? Like, does he even know?
I don't.
Like, how does he even know about Ethan? And that's the question. And why would we assume that Ethan's sleeping when we know that they weren't apparently home at 2:16 when the girls were sitting on the bed debating whether they should go to the food truck?
Right.
And Xana was apparently ordering DoorDash. I mean, there isn't any evidence that Ethan is sleeping. So why should we assume that Ethan's sleeping? There's nothing for us to assume.
Right. I guess it comes down, do you believe? Okay. It does come down to, do you, for instance, Dateline said they had a source from within. Do you believe that they had the source that said Ethan was sleeping? Or what they claimed, Ethan was in the bed? It comes down to, do you believe it or not? And to me, it makes sense, because if Ethan was killed in the bed, if that's where he was killed, it just seems logical to me. I mean, it seems likely to me, should I say?
Well, it seems to me that's why they're telling you that story, because it would seem logical. But me logically thinking about it, Brian going in as a sole perpetrator, not knowing what to expect, taking care of the 2, and they're also suggesting that Maddie was the target or whatever, what for whatever reason. I mean, what serial killer picks a target of 6 people in a house?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of unprecedented. Like, of all the serial killers we know, do we know anybody that tried to go into a house full of 6 people?
Well, Danny Rowling.
For their first?
Well, I don't know that. I don't think it was his first. No. So good point. Checkmate. I'll give you that.
I mean, it just seems like he's biting off more than he can chew, and it seems to me that if, for example, he let Dylan live, so he saw Dylan, he decided, not interested in Dylan. Well, why chase Xana down? I mean,
okay, so
you're chasing Xana.
You think he saw Dylan?
If you're chasing Xana down the stairs, to me, if you're chasing Xana down the stairs, just let Xana go. Get the fuck out of there. You're done. You know. And if you're going to go through the hassle of chasing Xana down and offing Ethan, you why the hell aren't you offing Bethany and Dylan too? Like that just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Do you think he knew? Do you think the killer knew that the other two roommates were there?
Well, I think the killer was known to the other two roommates, and what do I know? I mean, I'm just some dude. What do I know?
Right.
But I think that the story that we're getting from the roommates indicates that they know more than what they're saying, which would in turn indicate that they know who's responsible and they're fucking scared to death. And I think JB, you would know, and I certainly know from my upbringing and where I'm from. I know for a fact. I know people that have been killed and murders that have happened where people don't say a goddamn thing and they're still unsolved. But everybody in the whole, in a small town of 100,000 people, everybody knows who did it and what happened, but nobody's gone to jail. You know what I'm saying?
Do you believe the text
this
message?
shit fucking happened?
Do you believe the text messages that were presented from the girls were authentic?
The latest ones.
The ones where the ones were pretty much around the same time where let's say Bethany, where she told the Dylan to run downstairs. Do you believe that those text messages where they were talking about she was like saw someone, where you could clearly see there was a little bit of confusion / and fear? Do you believe that those text messages were authentic?
I don't have any reason to think that they weren't, but they conflict with the PCA. So
yeah,
and I believe there's still redacted text messages that we don't like. We still don't know what the Snapchats were or the other social media communications were with the conversations with parents. We still don't know who was the contact added to Dylan's phone 10 minutes before apparently this happened. So so no, I don't necessarily think those are like fake or not real.
Right.
But I mean, to me, those communications are damning. I mean, they blow the PCA out of the water, and they also don't make sense as far as two sweet young girls sitting in their rooms, not knowing what's happening, and just
the one the one thing I think is the one thing I think is blown out the water was that they were frozen in shock phase or asleep. Clearly, they were on social media and doing dumb shit. Clearly, they weren't freaked out or at them. Well, maybe freaked out, but clearly the narrative that we've been taught this whole time, whereas she frozen shock phase and then she went back in her room, closed the door, went to sleep for 8 hours. Clearly, that's been all bullshit. They were clearly up. They were they clearly were doing other shit, Snapchat, all this different shit. So with that being the case, clearly that portion of the story that's been presented to us. By the way, what's going on, Tracy? Thank you for your super chats. This is joining late. Who is the guest today? We're talking to damn, I forgot his fucking name. Jesse Shuley, this Jesse motherfucker. That's who we're talking to. But anyway, yeah, he's been a long time commenter, and he's been in the community for a while. I gave people a chance to come up. Jesse's good. Jesse's a good guy. Jesse's good, and I think for the most part, me and you don't have many disagreements. I think you lean towards probably not guilty. I lean towards. I think that there's a lot of coincidences that point to his guilt. And look. There's things that I don't think point to his guilt. Like everybody went crazy about the balaclava. Man, I live in the Appalachians. We have 1 million of those. For years, you know what I'm saying? Like people that live in the mountains buy face mask balaclavas all the time. All the time. So that person.
But JB, can I make a point?
Yeah.
It just seems like all the evidence though is like the balaclava to me. It just seems like there's a preponderance of evidence. But it's all like the balaclava. It's all like, well, we'll keep on throwing this shit out here. Somebody's going to buy it. JB's not buying the balaclava because he comes from an area where they
No.
use balaclavas, but somebody's going to buy it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, what evidence to you is the smoking gun? That is there anything? Is there anything that's like this just can't be explained away?
There's not. The most damning evidence that there is, and even then, it's still to me circumstantial, but it does draw a connection. Alone, I wasn't a big believer in the knife sheath DNA. It wasn't a big deal to me. But also at the same time, I said to myself, what's the odds he's got a fucking K-bar knife? And then it comes out that he fucking ordered a K-bar knife. Then it comes out that following the murders, it potentially looks like he looked to replace it. And I'm saying to myself, okay, now this is when it started to make the turn for me. Because I'm 44 years old. I've never in my life seen a K-bar knife or even known anybody with one. And I'm a conservative. I'm around military people all the time. I'm sure they probably have one, but I've never seen one. It's never been shown to me. I've hiked. I've never seen anybody carry. I've hiked the whole Appalachian Trail twice. Never seen anybody with one. And so a K-bar knife to me is kind of an odd purchase. And then to look for it twice, and then just so happens now you're a suspect in a murder that the suspected weapon is a K-bar knife. To me, what I want to see is the Kobergers present the knife and the sheath and say, no, man, it's not our shit. Our shit's right here. And to me, that would immediately say not guilty, get him out of there. But if they say we cannot present, like if Koberger was to say, man, I don't know where that knife is or something like that, it adds to the suspicion that he might have done it. Because who loses a whole K-bar knife, man? Who just loses a whole K-bar knife? To me, that just feels like an odd thing to lose. Like we carry guns and shit. I don't just lose my gun. And a K-bar knife, something that would be in a sheath belted to you most of the time, it feels like a hard thing to lose.
Yeah, well, I definitely agree. If they can actually pinpoint him purchasing the same K-bar,
right,
and that's the one. It's got his DNA on it. It certainly points towards his involvement. I still don't think, to me, a single perpetrator theory is still flawed, and I personally think this crime is a multiple perpetrator crime. I don't think it's carried out by one perpetrator. I think the evidence points towards multiple perpetrators. But the lack of specificity in the documents that have come out about this K-bar purchase have me concerned. And again, this information is coming from the same people who brought us the PCA, and the PCA was flat out lies, like just complete lies. Yeah. Everything in the PCA has been proven to be not factual, and now we have a story about a supposed K-bar purchase that's not very specific. There's a lot of, well, he clicked on this, but he didn't buy it. And to me, well, what do you mean he clicked on it and he didn't buy it? Like, what are we trying to insinuate? Like, if he was trying to buy a K-bar to replace the one that he used for this, first of all, is he that stupid? Like,
maybe.
How stupid is he? And why didn't he just buy it then? Like, for some reason he didn't buy it?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's possible. You don't think so?
Well, because I just don't. I just don't know how valid this evidence is.
Well,
he clicked on it, didn't buy it. I mean, if he bought it, that's evidence of something.
Let me
say that he clicked on it. I don't know if that's evidence.
Let me just show you something randomly, okay? Like right now. Like I can look at my Amazon right now, and there's things that I want to purchase that's on my list I just haven't bought yet, for multiple different reasons. But I can pull it up, and I'm just telling you that there's shit that ultimately, I mean, I think it's, and sometimes you're just looking at things. I think it's very likely that a normal person that typically uses Amazon maybe goes and bookmarks something, likes something, looks at something, puts it in their cart, and then maybe removes it later. Like there's a million things I'm drunk and I throw into my cart, and I wake up the next day and I'm like, thank God I didn't spend that $1,000. You see what I'm saying? Like,
So,
you know what I mean?
are we in agreement that actually clicking on something and not buying it is not evidence of something?
Oh, yeah, it's 100% not evidence. I agree with that completely. But is it suspicious if you're suspected for a murder and you recently bought a K-bar and then looked for a second one? Is it at least suspicious?
There's a lot of things about Brian Koberger that are suspicious, JB. I mean,
Yeah.
the kid seems like a bit of a weirdo, to be honest with you.
Mhm.
That being said, if you were a police officer in Moscow and you're looking for somebody to pin this on, you're probably going to look for somebody
Yeah.
who's going to be, it's going to be believable. You know what I mean? You're going to pick somebody who's like, well, are people going to buy this? And it feels to me like Brian Koberger might be that guy. Like,
I
this
don't
dude's fucking weird as fuck.
I don't know.
They'll buy it.
I don't know. I
They'll
don't
buy it.
Wouldn't you have picked the black drug dealer?
I mean, maybe the black drug dealer was really fucking close. Maybe he was the next in line and he just
Right.
missed it by a hair. I don't know.
You know what I'm talking about, right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Maybe he didn't have as much Google searches as
Yeah, that's a good, valid point. Valid point. No,
you know, Demetrius, but
yeah.
yeah, I mean, maybe Demetrius didn't have the dark Google searches that Brian did, and that was the difference.
Yeah. No, I hear you there completely. I'll tell you what, man. Let me ask you, because before we end this thing, let me ask you, if you were to paint out what you think happened in this case, start to finish. Like if you were to say, like if I was to say, what's your theory that you would lay your, not money on, but you know what I'm saying. You're making a bet. And you say, if I have to, this is my theory. This is what I would, seems the most likely to me. What would your theory be in this case?
The perpetrators were known to Dylan and Bethany, and that's why Dylan and Bethany's stories don't make sense. They're clearly protecting somebody.
Mhm.
So I mean, whoever, I have no idea. I don't really know about motive,
Mhm.
but I mean, so the evidence that I've seen would suggest that the family is no more than they're saying. I mean, the family. First of all, the only family that's speaking to media is the Gonzalez family, and we're getting mixed messages out of Steve. Um, the Chapins have been doing weird things like writing books, and I mean, kind of cashing in. I mean, they're making a profit from the whole thing.
What
They're not really.
were they writing? Children's books? Is that what she was writing? It was
She
children's
went to
books.
Crime Con. She wrote a children's book. She
Yeah.
went to Crime Con. I believe both of them received scholarships. The Gonzalez family and the Chapin family, their kids got free rides at colleges
Yeah.
out of the deal. Yeah, I mean, it would seem like there's a cover up, and cover up for what? I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's tunnels or
Yeah.
parachutes. Yeah, I just don't know.
Mhm.
What I do know is that Occam's razor tells me that a cover up is more likely than the single perpetrator Brian Koberger's theory. And that's as far as I can even go, because there's so much unknown. We're going to hear more.
Agreed.
We're going to learn more. It's bouncing up and down. I mean, JB's already gone from a pro-burger to a guilter overnight, and
Well,
to much of our disappointment. But the reason why that is just there isn't enough information. So what I'm getting at is I think the roommates are lying. I think the parents know more too, and they're lying. And I don't know why. I just don't know why.
I definitely think the roommates are lying. My theory is that we had a killer. We had someone. The way this makes sense to me, it could have been one of two things: someone that knew them and was getting revenge for something, but that's not my likely scenario. when I look at the big picture and I say to myself, does it make sense for a criminology student, for someone maybe that feels like he wants to make a name for himself? Maybe he gets wrapped up into his studies. Maybe, like myself, he has an obsession with serial killers, like myself. Is there ever a time that something goes through their head? Because I can tell you it did go through mine. At some point in my life, man, that would be actually a cool thing to be a serial killer. I've thought that in my life. So is it possible that someone studying criminology said to themselves, I think I want to give this a shot. I think I got the knowledge. I think I got the education. I think I can get away with this shit. The easiest targets are these females. I didn't know Ethan was going to be there. So what I'm going to do is I know these chicks get drunk on Saturdays. I know they're going to be at this place. I know that exists. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to creep in at 4 a.m. I'm going to murder them. I didn't know it was all of them. So then what happened is people that I did not know was there, I bumped into, had to kill them. I made some mistakes. I dropped the knife sheath. I had to get out of there quickly and go clean some shit up. And then all of a sudden, now the spot is hot. I know my car was probably on video. I know that I don't have a front plate. Maybe I need one to make to as a smoke screen. So maybe I go get my Washington plates finally. Maybe I'm going to talk to my dad that next morning for 59 minutes and say, Dad, I really think I want to come home for Christmas this year. And so I set up this trip with my dad. Meantime, I'm cleaning up everything around here, kind of tidying up, getting everything ready, making sure there's no loose evidence except for that goddamn knife sheath. That's not here. And so I think that that's a very possible scenario. And the person that fits that scenario is Brian Koberger. As much as I went 2 years saying, I don't think it's him, as someone that can look at this and say, what is the most likely scenario? What makes the most sense? A dude kind of into horror, kind of into crime, kind of into serial killer saying, fuck this, I'm going to go do this. I'm going to get away with it. Oh shit, I lost the knife sheath. I bet maybe I should go to Pennsylvania for the winter or for Christmas. I think that's a likely scenario.
I mean, that's all well and good. I mean, it sort of makes sense, but it's first of all, it's kind of biting off more than you can chew. I mean, taking on 6 people in your first go round, but it also doesn't explain the unexplainable around the peripheral of this case. The roommates not calling 911 for 8 hours, the parents' behavior, and there is. I haven't mentioned it yet in this discussion, but there is other circumstances involving the parents and what they were up to. There's plenty of reasons for this to have happened that don't involve Brian Koberger. And in fact, actually, here's another one. They're talking about Koberger not using his ATM card for like 3 weeks. You know what? Have you heard that, JB?
I have not heard that. I'm listening though.
Yeah, well, there is some kind of discussion about he didn't use his ATM card for a large portion of time during and before and during and after this crime, and that would sort of suggest that he had some cash, set aside, or was given some cash, or was handed some cash. So if you're of the thought that he was involved in like something that involved multiple perpetrators, I mean, he would have probably come into some cash and would not have needed to use his ATM card. But the state is alleging that he's guilty because he didn't use his ATM card for a 3-week period, like prior to the crime and after the crime. But yeah,
when you think that's a little, wouldn't you think that's a little odd? Like, for instance, all right, like, I mean, wouldn't you think that it's odd that he didn't use his card?
I mean, yeah, I would. but I mean, I just don't trust what I'm hearing from the state, and
Yeah.
you know, how long did he not? They're not being very clear about
Right.
what they're alleging in.
I think that hell, I didn't even know the whole hadn't used the card thing. That adds an extra element to it. Like I feel like that could be honestly fear of you being tracked based on your expenditures, just in case you got to get a smooth getaway. You know what I mean? The only time I've ever went 3 weeks without using my card was when I hiked fucking 2,000 miles, because you get on the trail, you don't know if all these small towns are going to fucking take a card. So usually hikers get out there, they got about $1,000 cash, 500 cash. So only on the Appalachian Trail have I ever went 3 weeks straight not using my card. And that's because I was in the wilderness. You see what I'm saying? Like, that's another suspicious activity, not using your card.
Yeah, well, I mean, there is plenty to be suspicious of Brian Koberger, and I'm not going to deny that. I will say that's probably why he's in the position he's in.
Yeah.
But to me, I'm just not buying the single perpetrator theory.
Yeah.
I think either Brian's innocent or he's involved in something that's a lot bigger than him.
Could be. Can I ask you?
I certainly don't think he's sitting there planning, like you mentioned. I just think it's what you mentioned sort of makes sense, but it just doesn't make sense to bite off more than you can chew for your first go. And a lot of people will bring up Ted Bundy and they'll say, "Oh, well, Ted Bundy did this, blah blah." Ted Bundy went into a sorority house at Florida State University. He knocked over a lamp, woke up everybody, got caught, had to run away, and ended up getting arrested. So the whole Ted Bundy did it thing, that's just not a thing. That's
right. Yeah, I don't.
Ted Bundy didn't get away with it.
I don't look at him looking at Google and Ted Bundy as important at all. Listen. If you saw my fucking Google and shit like that, like Google and Ted Bundy, and if you get into that kind of research, which clearly he did, I also do. So it's like, I don't think that means anything, him Googling Ted Bundy. But I will say, when it comes to, there is a lot of suspicion here for me, but I want to ask you about something else that the audience and that typically the conspiracy theorists in this community talk about, and that is Brent Kopacka. Do you believe he has any relevance to this case or not? I will come out and tell you I do not believe he has any relevance to this case. Do you believe he does?
Well, I mean, that is a very tough question. We know Judge at one point misspoke and mispronounced Koberger's name, and it's debatable whether he said Kopacka or Koberger. A lot of people presume that he said Kopacka and quickly changed to Koberger. And do I think Kopacka is involved? I mean, I certainly wouldn't want, put it this way, as a gambling man, if you're going to give me plus money, I'll bet on Kopacka.
What?
If you're giving me,
oh yeah, I mean, if you're giving plus, yeah. Okay.
If you're giving me plus money,
okay. So
am I willing? Am I willing? I willing to bet my life savings on it? Absolutely not.
Plus one.
So I'm
plus 100. Are you betting? Plus 150, something like that.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes all the difference in the world. Plus 100, I'm probably not betting. Plus 150, I'm betting. Yeah, no. I think that Kopacka could be in play. It's tough. It's very tough, JB, to say to put your eggs in that basket and say, well, but it's also, I think, silly to you can't just ignore that what happened was there was a decorated military veteran that was shot by cops not far away, and he could have possibly been friends with Brian. Well, at the end of the day, do you know who brought Kopaka into this story? Do you know?
Koberger?
His dad. His
Yeah,
dad said,
during the car ride. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So I mean, it's not like the weirdos and the fucking clowns and
Yeah.
this and that have brought Kopaka in. I mean, it was Koberger's dad who mentioned
Yep.
Kopaka originally. So do I think Kopaka might be involved? I on a 50-50 scale, I would lean 50 plus towards yes. I'm not willing to put
50,
all my eggs in that
50
basket.
plus. So you think it's more likely Kopak is involved than not likely?
Involved in that his name's going to come up in the case.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Okay. Okay. That's it. So let me ask you this: if you had to bet, you had to pick one or the other, like we're playing roulette, red or black. Um, Kopaka or Demetrius, who's more likely to be involved?
I like Kopaka more than Demetrius, to be honest with you. Basically, I don't fancy Demetrius as being like, for one thing, who could kill 6 people in a house?
Okay.
Demetrius or Kopaka?
Okay.
I
All
think
right. Yeah.
Kopaka.
Yeah.
I think Kopaka is a lot more capable than Demetrius.
All right, you sold me there. You sold me there. By the way, thank you, Melissa French. I love you, babe. Thank you so much for hitting the tip jar. I agree. Okay, you sold me there because we're talking about physical endurance. We're talking about I'm more likely to say Kopaka would have the ability to than Demetrius. I Do you believe that's why Kopaka was killed? That it was possibly he was involved? Do you believe that was something that led to Kopaka's death? Do you believe that any trace of it led to that?
That's a tough question there, JP. Um, I would say people need to look at it for themselves. I mean, at
Yeah.
the end of the day, look at the Kopaka story. I mean, just have a look at it.
Mhm.
I don't I don't know any more than the next guy. All I know is the I don't know what Kopaka was accused of. He's been shot dead by police officers.
Sure.
I don't know what he was accused of. Um, it didn't appear that he did that much wrong to be shot dead. The story seems quite questionable how he got shot dead. Um, yeah, I mean, I don't know how to answer that. I can say that I'm skeptical. I
Yeah.
am skeptical of what happened with Kopaka. I don't, what happened. I have no idea about him. I certainly think there's reason to be skeptical, and I don't believe all the documents have been released. I think there's a lot still withheld. So we'll see, I guess.
Last question. I think if you, as a betting man, you have to pick somebody, and you have to give me a name. You have to lay it right now. The farm is on the line. You have to pick someone. If the farm was on the line, everything you own, just hypothetically, who would you give me a name of the one person that you think is responsible, whether it's as multiple people or whatever, just the one person's name that is for sure involved in this if you had to lay money on it. Out of all the characters we've seen throughout this entire process, I'll give you two options. You could put it all on one individual, and even if they had multiple people with them, you can name a name, or you can say a name that you can say we don't know. The name hasn't been introduced into the story yet. So what I mean is some mystery far off guy that nobody's even heard of, we don't know, which would have been, or is there a name that you say, I think that guy's involved? You have to pick one. Mystery guy that nobody knows, or a name. Who would you bet the farm on?
Does it have to be the killer, or could it be a co-conspirator?
It could be a co-conspirator. Just somebody you know is part of it.
Dylan Mortensen. I mean, I actually believe Dylan is a co-conspirator, at least to the fact that she should have, would have known, should have known what was happening. There's to me, all the evidence that I've seen would point toward Dylan Mortensen having more knowledge than what she's saying. She's the state's eyewitness. I think she knows who did this, and I think she knows it's not Brian. And so that's where my money's at. Dylan Mortensen as a co-conspirator.
Just out of, just to be, would you, I'm betting the farm on Koberger as the one guy, but I also think that if we had gambling odds, like if this was Vegas, I would have minus fucking 8,000. You see what I'm saying? Like, I think I'm picking the favorite for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
I think Koberger's clearly the favorite to have done this, the likely person to have done this. And, so you're betting the farm on Dylan. I'm betting the farm on Koberger. Is that safe to say?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't actually put my actual house on that, but if you force me to pick somebody, I'm picking Dylan as a co-conspirator. Not that I believe that's actually going to pan out, but that's what I believe. And yeah, obviously the odds would be favorable for Brian to be, Brian's probably going to be found guilty in this crime, whether you believe he did it or not.
And I believe that's true because I don't believe we can get a fair trial either way. I believe that public perception, I believe Koberger's been found guilty in the court of public opinion. And I don't find that to be fair. But it's kind of well, let me ask you this. There's a lot of people that believe that this case is going to get thrown out. I don't believe that there's probably any way possible that happens. I believe we will see a conviction, whether I think it's fair or not. I do think we will see a conviction. I do not think there will be a plea bargain because you'd be a fool to sign a plea bargain. I think that we will have a conviction and there will be none of these things that Ann Taylor's doing to get the case thrown out. Do I believe will actually help? I think in the end, he's been found guilty in the court of public opinion, and I think that they will find him guilty at trial. Do you feel the same way?
I think that barring a Hail Mary, I've said this before on discussions on this trial, but I think Ann Taylor needs a Hail Mary. She needs something that we're not aware of yet, whether it be the advanced timing data from Cy-Ray but based on what we've seen so far, Koberger's toast. I mean, in a trial, I think he's toast. She's not going to win unless she gets some kind of Hail Mary. And I don't know if it's coming. The potential for that, though, would be the Cy-Ray advanced timing data, the affidavit that he sent to the court saying that he believes that Nick Balance should have had the event. There is that. That's coming up, an interview with Nick Balance, whether or not he's going to admit that he had the advanced timing data. That could change the direction of the trial. Aside from that, if they can prove that the green car was actually the green car.
I do got three potentials. There's three ways Koberger can get out of this case. I believe Cy-Ray would have to place him elsewhere. That's number one. So he would actually have to have an alibi, which would be Cy-Ray and whatever information he could bring. I believe the top way Koberger can get out of this is just by saying, bro, here's the fucking knife in the sheath. Here's that I ordered. I believe that could work. Or if he could prove evidence that he sold said knife and sheath prior to this, if he can provide the evidence that he did that. So selling the knife and sheath, providing the knife and sheath, or Cy-Ray providing physical evidence based on data that he was indeed somewhere at the park down there stargazing or just not there, anywhere. That if he can just place him somewhere else, I believe that would be enough to get him off. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, Cyril could get him off. I don't see him being able. I mean, if he could produce the knife and sheath, he probably would have produced it already.
Exactly.
I would think, but yeah. I mean, I think his hopes are lying with Cyril and or with his attorneys proving misconduct from the prosecution, which I think there actually has been a lot of misconduct from the prosecution.
Yeah.
In fact, I mean, if it was up to me, this case would be over based on the misconduct of the prosecution. But whether or not they can actually prove that remains to be seen. But if the SIRE advanced timing data comes out, that could go a long way in proving that.
I believe most prosecutions have misconduct, and this is someone that's went through quite a bit of them. I've seen the prosecution lie about me square to the jury right in the middle of court. I'm with you there. I will say this though. I don't believe that what we're going to see is enough misconduct, because I do believe that the FBI actually mainly the FBI's behind, kind of in the dark way of obtaining the DNA. I think that is immoral. I think it's unconstitutional. But I do think in the end, the judge has already said that's not going to be big enough of a problem. So I think that ultimately what we're going to see is the judge. And I think this judge is more anti-Koberger than John Judge was. Do you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think Hitler is. I mean, at the end of the day, he's doing this
Yeah.
when the defense is talking. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, Hitler is. No, I will say, in addition to that, Hitler is telling people that they should not opine on things that they're not aware of or whatever. And then he starts when he's offering his commentary on the motions, he's opining on things that he is not
Right.
an expert in. You know, I mean, DNA and such things that he's clearly not an expert in these matters.
Right.
Yet he's opining on the validity of such matters, which, I mean, it seems rather hypocritical. I don't like Hitler.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I don't expect Hitler to give anybody a fair shake. Like I said, I think Koberger is fucked unless Ann Taylor pulls a Hail Mary and she has a trick up her sleeve to something that's undeniable, whether it's
So,
the SIRE advanced timing data or whatever else. Otherwise, he's fucked.
so at the end of all of this, are we in agreement that Brian Koberger is going to be found guilty and at the very least spend the rest of his life in prison, maybe even be put to death? Are we in agreement that the end verdict will be guilty?
I mean, we're not really in disagreement about that.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, we're only in disagreement about how correct that is.
I'm not 100% sure if it's correct or not. I personally, I still could be swung either way. Right now, I'm leaning. I'm very moderate with this right now. I try to be unbiased and just go where I see the facts or go where my gut is telling me based on the facts. I think me not watching other YouTubers, I do watch Harsh for entertainment purposes. I think me not watching all the different YouTubers and their theories actually benefits me. Because my brain is not being filled with a bunch of fucking theories. I'm just typically going off documents, news, gut feelings, true. I think that honestly benefits me, where I think a lot of other people are being filled with all these different theories, and it's pulling you guys all over the place. And so every single time one theory gets disproved or becomes irrelevant, we get a brand new theory, like the goddamn green car. I mean, they were out of theories. And so now all of a sudden the green theory exists, the green card theory exists. And I feel like that, I feel like that. I get people in the audience saying, "Don't go off news." Let me explain something to you. I can prove to you this weird thing where people's like never believe mainstream media. That's not true. I can tell you now. I could pull up mainstream media and pick a story, and it says Donald Trump signs executive order on medication, and obviously I can believe that because I can look at the video and see Donald Trump sign an executive order on medication. Like, so this weird thing where people's like, you never believe anything that the news says. It's not true. It's not true. Some things can be backed up by other sources. So this weird thing where everybody's like, oh man, you got that off of News Nation, or you got that off of Fox News, or you got that off of, whatever the fuck. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not true if there's evidence correlating whether it's true or not. You see what I'm saying? There's no reason to look at the news and see them say Donald Trump just signed an executive order and say, oh man, that's mainstream media. That's fake news. When you could clearly Google it and correlate it amongst other news aggregators and clearly see that he signed the executive order. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sure. But I do think in this case, though, you should, let's say we're going to go by what they've proven to us in the beginning. They've lied to us at the beginning. So you can't trust the mainstream media because they've already demonstrated they're going to lie to you. So that's where I'm at. And it does feel like, I don't know. I don't think we're in great disagreement here, JB. I mean, the reason I'm on here is because I said you done lost your mind.
Yeah.
And
as you clearly see,
I don't know if you done lost your mind.
No,
I mean,
my
at
mind.
the end of the day, I don't. I say that to my good friends. I don't think that's a huge insult. I just think that the way you're interpreting it and the way I'm interpreting it are different.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at you like a great skeptic. You're a guy who spent time inside. You're a guy who knows that the mainstream media is full of fucking shit.
Yeah.
And so I'm expecting you to interpret it a certain way. And it almost feels like you're allowing yourself to, like, and you just made a big speech about how sometimes the mainstream media is telling the truth.
Sometimes
Nobody's always lying and nobody's always telling the truth. There's always the best lies are always based on the truth, right? And that's part. There is this thing that you have to navigate.
That's how they get away with it.
It just seems like your navigation of it has I don't know. You've lost the skepticism toward what the mainstream media is telling you in some of these things, in my opinion. And
yes.
Like I said, I'm not. Well, I do think you're correct. I think
for the record,
Kohberger's fucked.
For the record,
probably going to be guilty.
For the record,
a miracle.
For the record, when my
do I think that's right? Not necessarily. Do I? I personally think the single perpetrator theory is garbage, and mainstream media is lying through their teeth.
Yeah,
and I don't think any weight should be put into anything they're saying.
Well,
nothing.
For the record, when my mind first started to go, I did hear from the mainstream media something, and then I went and read the documents. And so you need to remember when my mind changed. My mind began to change when I realized Brian Kohberger ordered a K-bar. And so it was not based on mainstream media. It was not based on any of that. It was a gut feeling that, holy shit, this motherfucker ordered a K-bar. That doesn't look good. That is when I began to consider that maybe Kohberger did do this shit. And so clearly, the coincidence, as you see, things are being leaked little by little. And all I'm saying is it's starting to build up. And that's why I think it's likely Kohberger did it. I think it's likely Kohberger did it. I wouldn't be surprised, though, if he didn't. I think that Kohberger I think they've likely got the right guy is where it is. I still believe in innocent until proven guilty. I still think they really need to hammer it home. I would not convict Brian Kohberger if I was on the jury. And this is the same thing I've said for 2.5 years. If I was on the jury, You have to prove it beyond a reasonable doubt to me. And I'm not willing to say on jury, guilty, send that man to death. You haven't proven that yet. But to me personally, I believe he did it. You haven't given me that home run evidence that proves to me 100%, let's kill him, he's guilty. You haven't given me that yet. But, so we're a lot more on the same side than it probably looks, because I'm still the same person I've been for 3 years with this. Innocent until proven guilty. If I was on the jury, my answer would still be no. And is it possible that lets a murderer off the hook? Yeah, of course. But I live by this. It is everybody knows this saying for the most part. It's better to send nine guilty motherfuckers back into the streets than to convict one innocent person. Does that make sense? So, like, at the end of the day, even if I think he's guilty, if part of me feels like he might not be, I don't feel that it's morally right to go off a hunch and send him to the death. Does that make sense?
Well, I think actually the saying is it's better to let 100
No.
guilty men go free.
Right.
Oh, fuck.
100. No, you're right. I think you're right. I think the saying is 100. But either way, nonetheless, it's the same. I don't want to see one innocent person.
100 guilty men would go free before one innocent man be sentenced. But yeah, but I think we're almost in full agreement.
Yeah.
I think I'm a little bit more skeptical than you are at this point about from the state's point of view, the information that's coming from the mainstream media and the state. And I think there is a chance that Kohberger is actually guilty.
Yeah. You on that third bottle's got you a little flush, huh? Got you a little fucked up, huh? Hey, man.
Well, that third bottle's only got a little bit left in it. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm not opposed to the whole idea that Kohberger is involved in this shit. Yeah. I think that he might well be. He may well be involved. I just don't see the single perpetrator theory. The single perpetrator theory to me is falling apart.
The audience said you glitched and made the window sound. They said you glitched. You're doing it again. No, I'm just fucking with you, man. Hey, I do want to thank you for coming up here. I think this has been a fantastic conversation, man. And I do thank you, man. Maybe we can do it again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, well, I'm looking forward to hearing you talk to Harsh. When is that, by the way?
Well, I think it's going to be Friday.
Right.
Friday.
Well, I'll be definitely tuning in.
Yeah.
Looking forward to it.
Absolutely. Appreciate you, brother. All right, guys, that was a very fucking interesting. That was an interesting conversation, man. Let me pull this off of here. I actually thought that was a fantastic convo. I think what's up, love Tina? You guys loved it? Yeah. No, man, I think I've never looked forward to a Harsh interview like I'm looking forward to this Friday. Yeah, I think we're recording it this Friday. I think he wants. So here's the deal. Harsh wants to record it, and then which he's got good software and all that, but I'm going to record it too just in case the motherfucker tries to cut some shit out. So he's going to record it and probably edit it, but I'm going to record it from my end just in case he tries some funny shit. Glad you decided to do that, JB. Oh, yeah, that's awesome. It's going to be a good conversation between me and Harsh. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, I'll definitely hit back at Harsh with facts. I wonder about there being multiple perps, twos. Yeah, it could be. I think that conversations like the one we just had, the blood of the sheath is male, yes, and not Brian's. I mean, maybe. Is there any evidence behind that, Justice? Harsh, yeah, Harsh is really cool. Harsh is really cool. No, Harsh, no. I try. I got full faith in Harsh. I think the Harsh conversation is going to be Even more because me and Harsh has been at this for a long time. And so because me and Harsh had a lot of the same conversation, can you ask him why he shadow bans my comments? I'm not going to ask him why he shadow bans regular people's comments. I mean, I don't know if he knows who you are, Miller Time. I guess I'll say this is, yeah, I mean, you could go over there and ask him. Just create a new account and go ask him. Harsh might just clip some choice words. Yeah, no, I know. That's why I say I'm going to record it too. So if he tries to censor me for what he puts on his channel, I'm going to keep the uncensored shit for my shit. You know what I mean? We'll see. But I think what's going to happen is you know how Harsh, he kind of moves slow with this shit. So he might record it and then edit it, and you might not get it till Saturday. I don't know. It'll be all up to him. It depends on how early we record it. I think if me and him record it early enough, then we might have it by Friday night. Because y'all could disagree, but still be open-minded and respectful. Yeah, I think that's great. I will watch your side. I hear you there, Miller Time. Look, I'll say this about Harsh's community is a little bit more quick to block than mine is. The only thing that can get you blocked over here is not a disagreement. The only thing that can get you blocked over here is if I see people attacking other people in the audience or doxing people, shit like that. You know what I mean? Like if I see somebody just saying, Ashley, you fat cunt. Well, first of all, I'll laugh. Well, hold on. I don't think, actually, let me look at her first because I may block them for saying that to Ashley. I don't know. Let me check. Oh, yeah, I'd block the shit out of them for calling Ashley a fat cunt. Yeah, absolutely, I would. Okay, so let me rephrase that. I would block people. So that's pretty much it. The only reason I would block money is if people fucked with my money, doxed people, or insulted the vagina in the chat. You can call me a simp all you want. Don't insult the pussy in the chat. That's the way this works. We all love Ashley. Yeah, that's the first time I've seen her. I didn't know her. I think that's the first. But then again, we got to remember, I don't do streams like this all the time. I don't do streams. Is Post Malone your bastard son? I don't even know what that means. I don't know what a Post Malone is. Yeah, oh yeah, we like to joke, but we behave. He says, yeah, that's not nice. Yeah, you don't insult the broads. You don't insult the broads. He says, I know you, JB Gunner. Well, good shit. Well, I don't know you yet, but hi. How you doing, beautiful? How you doing? It's always dang. You know what? I think we like the broads. Yes, we do. We definitely like the broads. I guess that's a good thing if you know me before I know you and you're still here. That's like waking up next to a chick and you don't remember her, but she's like, do you want breakfast? Absolutely. Sammy Dubs says, he said, yeah, no, I don't know what a Post Malone is at all. I don't know what a Post Malone is at all. Google will pick up him, Jay. No, I mean, don't. If you think I look like another dude for some reason, all right, it's cool. Know when you say the wrong name? Oh yeah. It's never seen you, but I'm so glad I know you. You know I'm under your skin. Oh, Heather and Amnesia, whatever one of these motherfuckers are going at. I don't know what the fuck they're calling me. Post Malone is a singer. Well, yeah, I definitely don't sing. Said Post Malone is a music artist. I'm 44 years old. I don't do music unless I'm drunk. And it's like R&B or some shit because the bitches want to hear it. You know, it kind of helps with the whole eating pussy vibe. You know, you get kind of a smooth little wavy feeling to it. You know what I'm saying? Yes, I remember the Wild Ass Doggo and Jules stream from like a year ago. Oh, shit, I don't even remember that. JB does the skate? No. Little jealousy? Yes. Am I single? I'm in a really open situation. So yes and no. And I know everybody says that, but you can ask the people that really know me. I guess you could say, Jimmy, that conversation was great. Yeah. Yes and no. No, not Will Smith. It's hard to explain it's hard to explain my lifestyle to people because I'll just say this, it's a very degenerate lifestyle. Does that make sense? There's a lot of degeneracy that goes on with me. So I think that's the best way. You come off of one of those dirty ass Wade Wilson wives. Oh man, they still going at it. Heather tries too hard to be relevant. Degeneration X. No. But yeah, no, it's just pretty much the way to open adult lifestyle. Yeah, I think that's fair to say. Let's just say I'm allowed a harem. Not a problem. Did Jesse do something after I left? Yeah, he talked and got drunk. Passed out on the stream. We had to get him out of here. Wade Wilson is scared. Wade Wilson's that one killer, isn't he? Is your girl allowed, JB? No, that's not the way it works. That's not the way it works. Yeah, it'll be watchable. I'm not taking this down. No, it's no. That's it's not open like that. There's no cuckery going on. No. I live a very double standard. It's very much so I'm the king type scenario. My chicks can barely work without me having a problem with it. I guess the best way to put it is I write their schedule out. I write their daily, itinerary, I guess you could say. Yeah, there's no cuckery. Yeah, no. That's not the way. That's why I try to talk about more. That's why I try to talk about it as more of a, wish my husband didn't let me work. I hear you there, Rach. I try to talk about it more as a harem situation, potential harem situation, than an open situation. Because I think open insinuates it's open on both ends. That's just never been the case. No, I'm not kissing no mouth that's been on some dick. That's not happening. Does that make sense? So, y'all got me smoking in the house on this one. I haven't smoked in this house. JB doesn't block people unless they get real dumb. However, your comments don't show up. Yeah, that's YouTube pulling your comments. That's not me. Upgrade says, don't kiss these females. Yeah, I know. JB writing out their plan, I respect. No, I do. I'm not bullshitting at all. You can go back and see old talk shows with me and on television. I'm the same person I was when I was doing the talk show circuit. You know what I mean? I have the same, no. I guess you guys could look at it from a dominant, submissive lifestyle thing. That's pretty much how it is. Whether you're ever in PA, let's go on a date. We can definitely do that. We can definitely do that. In fact, let me just put this out. Yeah. Here you go. Here you go. I don't care who takes that number down. You can all use it. I don't give a shit. Unless you're a dude. Don't be no dude texting me, man. Unless you're like if you're a dude texting me, you better come with an Apple Cash. You're the man and make the rules kind of thing. Old school. No, it's 100% what it is. 100% what it is. All I'm saying is if you're a dude and you take that number, it better come with an Apple Cash. Because, I don't do the friend thing. Oh, what's up, homie? No. The ladies can have the number. But no, the dudes. Yeah, you know how it goes. Upgrade says JB and I text late at night sometimes. That's only when it's wrestling, though. That's only wrestling shit. Don't discuss true crime on the weekend. You know what's funny? Warning label Nina texted me one night and I was shit-faced drunk. And my response was, it was along the lines of, I don't talk business. I don't talk about the work, about the job. I don't talk true crime outside of work. But I think I said, I can't remember if it was her or not, but I said, we're either talking about fucking or we're not. Yeah, you might catch me on a drunk night. And that may be exactly what the fuck I say. We're either sharing nudes and talking about fucking or we're not. You catch me on a drunk night, it could be that. You catch me on a regular night, I'm lazy. And I'm like, whatever. Yeah, I think it was you. Exactly. Motherfucker texted me and asked me about some cold burger shit. It was like a Friday night and I'm shit-faced half gallon in, just sitting here getting shit-faced. Motherfucker talking to me about the intricate details of a murder that happened 2,000 miles away from my house. No. Don't get catfish though. No, trust me, I got ways around that. I always got ways to confirm. It's never happened. There's people that I assume would try it, and there's people that have probably tried it. It's just I work a different way on the phone, and so I don't talk too much shit until it's proven that I'm talking to who I think I'm talking to. It's that simple. Here's your idea. Yeah. No, there was this one dude that tried it once. And so I just sent him every dick pic in my phone. Every dick pic in my phone. Because he was obvious about it, right? And so I just sent him every dick pic I had snapped in my entire phone gallery. That motherfucker was so... And you knew it was a dude. You knew it pissed him off. Because you know what I'm saying? Here he is thinking he's trolling on the phone and shit. Next thing you know, I just bombard him with dick pics. And any straight dude, that's going to piss off. And it did. It did. So I knew I was correct, you know. A chick, if she was offended by your dick pic, she just wouldn't probably text you back. A dude, especially if you bombard them, they're going to get angry because now you've made them look a dick. And not only did I send the dick pics, I sent the oozing dick pics too, as well, and maybe even the videos. Needless to say, he never trolled me on the phone again. Never happened again. Incoming? No, it was. You know how women are. You know how they'll have you finish on the phone. You know, they want to see it, shit like that. Well, I get into kinky bitches. And so that's how I'll fuck with people. Yeah, don't troll me on my goddamn phone. I'll fuck your whole shit up. Yeah, Upgrade said absolutely thumbs down. Said Heather Fitzney on his live. Yes. Oh yeah, no, I've done the shit on the live. Shit happens. Can't win them all. Can't win them all. If you ever see a live get deleted, usually I've done some foul shit like that. Says yes, please. Numbers out there. All I can say is numbers out there. So I'm going to finish smoking. If anybody's got any other theories they want, no offense, bitches, playing the game should automatically assume dicks being sent to... Yeah, well, Melissa, me and you've already went through our shit. Melissa and me got the fucking pictures a long time ago. But she's got a man and she wasn't willing to cheat. So there was nothing I could really do with that. If you're not willing to cheat and travel and cheat, there was nothing I could really do with the whole Melissa thing. So we just sent pictures back and forth until we got bored, and then we just stopped talking altogether. Billy, this isn't Heel Nation. Oh, is he still talking to wrestling shit? Oh, yeah, he does come from Heel Nation, doesn't he? Yeah, we've seen him on the other channels. So anyway, yeah, does anybody else got any other theories they want to give me, or are we just going to talk about my dick for the rest of the stream? I mean, I'm down for whatever. But, yeah, it was an interesting interview. Look, man, I look at everything kind of from a debate standpoint, and I feel like my position was stronger today. I do. The porn searches are irrelevant. I agree with that. Who hasn't searched? See, I don't like the whole porn search thing. Because like I said, I got a different lifestyle. If you look up my shit, you'll see consensual, non-consensual, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, you think I'm a rapist. No. People got different kinks, man. People got different kinks. So, what do you say? What do you do? I don't think his porn searches were relevant at all. At all. So, how does one know if they are into one? Simply clicks on it. Yes. Can us other ladies give a call to Jay? Text. Yes, you got to text, Tracy. Absolutely, you can text. Absolutely. Don't be shocked if you get a dick pic, though. You're not immune to dick pics because you're on Social Security and shit. In fact, you're more likely to get a dick pic if you're on Social Security. Times are hard out here. It's hard out here on a pimp. Don't be shocked, Heather. You're not immune. That's right. Amnesia and her going at it. She said, "Ain't scared." There you go. The license plate on the green car are weird and do not stand out. That's all I know. Yeah, I don't know about the light. I don't know about the green car. I think the green car is made up bullshit out of nowhere. But you know how it goes. So I don't really know, man. I think that there's a lot of theories here. I think that my position is the most logical. It's the most logical. Heather says, I don't know what I'm not immune to, but it better be the fattest I've ever seen. Nope. 1.5 inches, 2 inches tops. That's all the fuck I'm giving you. That's all the fuck I got. Oh, she wants Amnesia TVs. Oh, y'all still going at it. All right, guys. I think we're going to go ahead and close this out. Any final words? Any final anything? I'm going to go ahead and get up out of here. I've been fucking streaming all day. I think I'm done. And I have a feeling the fucking phone's going to be blowing off the hook now. Which is fine. I don't mind. Says Maggot. Absolutely. What's up, Glowy? Absolutely, Melissa. You guys all have a fantastic day. Thank you to everybody that hit tip jar, by the way. Thank you to everybody that didn't. It's all good, man. Thank you, Lori. Hope you're doing well, beautiful. Try to say goodbye to everybody. Tracy, Amnesia, Jody, the beautiful Jody's in here. Thank you. Hope you have a good one. You the man? No, you the man. You the one that's probably just insulted a bitch until you got some pussy. You've been insulting Heather, and then next stream we're going to come to find out y'all met and fucked. Thank you, JB. Fun and informative. Thank you, Tina. Appreciate you. Good night, Ginger. Hope you're doing well. You ain't told me bye in 6 years, motherfucker, because I know I'm not done talking to you. The beautiful Sammy does look good, though. Sammy, I hope you use the number. Let me look at that shit again. If you use the number, though, you're going to have to send me another picture, though. So I know it's you. It can't be the same profile picture. It could be the profile picture, but it has to be another picture, too, so I know it's you. that somebody didn't just steal your profile picture. Since you're the hot one I'm seeing right now that is interested, somebody, I don't want nobody fucking with me. So you're gonna have to send me both. Go fuck some pussy, JB. I'm tired, man. I don't think I can fuck nothing right now. I don't even think that's possible right now. I think I'm gonna go out here and look at my mountains, drink a cup of coffee. There you go, Ginger. There you go. Uh-oh, another chat, Sammy Dubs. There you go. Is that how it works? Is that how what works, Kimberly? Is that how what works? Yeah, it's everybody else. The show's over. We're just sitting here shooting the shit before we go. I ain't got shit else to do right now. So all you're going to see is me get some Death Wish coffee. That don't sound bad. I've had it before. I got to send pics. Yeah, you can send pics. Well, no, I know you're you. But I'd like pics though, Kimberly. I'd like pics. Yeah, I know you're you. Lucky to see the mountains as you do. I can show you. I'll show you real quick. Give me a second. I'll show you. I will show you. Let me see. God damn it. Hold on, man. How the fuck do I click on this? Fuck it. I'll put it in the... Give me 1 second. I'll show you the mountains. I'll show you right outside my shit. Now interview someone who believes he's guilty? Yeah, I think that would be interesting. Let me see if I can click on this. Just kind of try to bootleg this shit. And then bring me in here. Let me see. Let me see. Am I in? I'm gonna reverse the camera. Sideways the camera. There we go. Let me enter. I hope that doesn't... Let me see. Is there a way to... Well, can't really see it through the trees right now. But in the mountains. So that's what you got. Hopefully that showed you a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw it or not. Oh, well. That was kind of a difficult thing to do. All right. So anyways, now interview someone who thinks he's not guilty. We would definitely try to do that. All right, guys. Is everybody already out here? Did I accidentally fucking cut off the stream? I think I did. Who gives a shit? Oh, well. Fuck yeah, nice. I lived on a mountain. There you go. Yeah, no, I'm in the Appalachians, North Georgia mountains. Pretty much. So, hold on. Uh-oh. There we go. AZ, Arizona? Yeah. Damn, she really did text. She really did text and proved it was her. All right. That's what I like to see. That's what I like to see. But anyways, I hope you guys all have a fantastic evening. Think I'll get up out of here. Chat's kind of slowed down, all that good shit. Anyways, you guys all have a fantastic evening. I will see you guys soon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the live stream. Peace out, guys.